What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Why is this doing this? What the heck is going on right now? I have no clue what is happening right now, but we in the building. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, family? It is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, year of our Lord, and I am looking forward to an awesome, awesome, awesome day. What's up, family? Did y'all enjoy the show last night? It was a great show on After Hours. I personally believe that we have the best late night show. I also personally believe that I have the greatest morning show. And so we in here, and I am excited to kick it with you guys today. We got a lot of breaking news. We got to get into Chinese tariffs. Who else was it? Jamie Dimon, the CEO of Chase, he had some things to say about all of the breaking news. We got to get into Jasmine Crockett. So Jasmine Crockett and Trump is going back and forth. Trump signed some new executive orders. IRS news as far as them pouring into and providing information with regard to illegal migrants. So it's a lot to get into today. And before I get into it, let me go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping. The first thing that I want to say is for everybody that participates on this platform, I want you to understand that you are welcomed. Absolutely. You are welcome. And when I say that, I'm saying that we believe in diversity of thought. And we believe that we don't operate in an echo chamber. So I tell my moderators to keep a very loose leash on the chat because the chat is the co-host of the show. And we want and encourage people to participate. So if you do, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you've been here more than once, we welcome you. Your least thing you can do, the least you can do is to hit a like for the algorithm. But we do encourage you to try to not go too far with the insults. We know that most people are emotional and sometimes they get out of pocket and they say things about people that's not so nice. Don't be nice. And listen, I shouldn't have to try to tell you what your parameters are and how far you should go. Just don't be a habitual line stepper. And then we're going to go from there. Second line of housekeeping that we want to get into is we do not ask for anything here. What we do is we appreciate anything that anybody contributes. We don't care if it's $1. We don't care what it is. So thank you for continuing to hold me down. Thank you for continuing to be my co-host for the show. And then last but not least, live stream tonight, Patreon, Stock Club. It's on and popping. All right. So we're going to go into and we're going to deep dive into everything. I'm going to break down for everybody that's new the things that we look for when we're looking to invest in a new company. Also going to go into all of the different things that we can take care of, how to protect yourself, what companies to invest in, how to capitalize off of what's happening in the market with the whole trade war, everything. All right. So we can't wait to get into that. I do participate with the chat on Stock Club, and so I'm looking forward to deep diving into that. Third, third, I'm excited. Well, I'll get into that in a minute. So, third, let's replace that third with this third. Make sure that you guys are loving your neighbors. Make sure you guys hold each other down, and make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Let's get started with the show. So before I get into the tariffs and all of those different things that's happening right now, with the birthday that's coming up, all right? With the birthday that's coming up, I had an epiphany this morning based off of a conversation that I had last night on after hours. And that epiphany was largely based around the different ideas that I have not implemented or the things that I said that I was going to do in the explorations. And for those of y'all that was on after hours last night, I was telling people how important it is for me to immerse myself in different cultures so that I have the best content and I can speak upon it with the most ideal perspective, and then I can add value into people's lives. So, for example, and I'll tell y'all some of the stuff I said last night because it's not a secret, but I got literally hundreds of different things that's written down in my notes. One of the things that I loved to do, and this was around the time that I was really vlogging, and now that I've relaunched another vlog, the Darth Anton vlog, I used to go and explore everything. I mean, I done been to raves, and I wanted to go and see what it was like at Alcoholics Anonymous, even though I don't really drink, right? And going and visiting different cities and cultures. And I used to do urban exploration, and I had these ideas. One of the ideas, and I told y'all about it last night, was I wanted to go and live homeless for like 2 weeks. And what that entailed was, I'm not going to start off with no money. I'm just going to get my cameras, make sure they charged. Obviously allow for my people to keep tabs on me so that nothing happens to me. But, making sure that I figure out how to survive, right? What are homeless people really dealing with outside of us just going and volunteering and helping them and saying, hey, here's something to eat? Or because we all are judgmental, right? We all evaluate things from our perspective, but sometimes our perspective is skewed because we come from places maybe of privilege, maybe of opportunity. I wanted to see and experience what it was like to go and talk to these people and that people, and what is it like living off the grid and all of these things, right? So I've had crazy ideas and things that I've wanted to do, but a lot of that had got pushed on the back burner because business and getting new offers and going back into corporate America, and you got a daughter, and so you're trying to take that into consideration, and you want to up your life insurance and all of that before you start doing this stuff, right? But my point is, I've largely throttled myself, right? I've largely throttled myself and I slowed down. And it's because I've become a lot more safer and a lot more mindful because I've become a lot more successful. And so you tend to start protecting yourself and getting a little bit scary or whatever. But the thing that started to get you into that mindset and the thing that made you hungry in the first place, you start to get away from it a little bit because you start listening to outside things and all of this stuff or whatever it is, right? And I see that with you. I see that with people that I interact with every day because I'm outside every day. I talk to them. I see them. I ask them what they do for a living. Where did you come from? Why did you move here? Why did you move away? Why did you come back? And we have conversations regularly, right? And what I see from people I started to see in myself as I approached my 43rd birthday, and I realized that they're dying because they're not really living. They're not really living. You get up and you go to work every single day and you have no dreams. All of your dreams died the minute that you started working, or all of your dreams died the minute that somebody punched you in the mouth, or the minute that somebody told you that this is the way you're supposed to be. You stopped taking risks. You stopped dreaming. You stopped caring about that Lamborghini that you grew up with on your wall. You started accepting the fact that it's okay to be normal. It's okay to be an average person, an average man, an average woman. Everything in you is dead. All you do is wake up and you live it. Some of y'all live your lives through your children. The reason why you so heavy on trying to tell your kids what to do instead of putting them in a position to be successful and exploring what makes sense for their lives is because you're living vicariously through them. A lot of people are living through their children. You living through me. You wouldn't imagine how many emails or comments that I get on my vlog channel or on my emails where people say, man, you doing it, big dog. Well, what about you? Why are we not doing it together? All your dreams died with you. The only thing you care about is, man, I got to get out of debt. Life, people, women, men, the church, your parents, everybody has kicked your ass so much that you don't have a dream. You can't imagine yourself being thin no more because all you doing is comfort eating. You can't imagine yourself moving or going to visit a place that you've never been before. You can't imagine the possibility of making $1 million in a year. Psh, not me. You can't imagine. And so when I then start to communicate, and sometimes I'll let y'all get to me, and we'll be talking and I'll say, yeah, man, I can't wait to do this, or yeah, I made this amount of money or whatever. And you say, cap, nobody can do that. It's not because it's me, it's because it's you. You're projecting your insecurities. You can't imagine learning how to read and being able to be fluent in your conversation. You can't imagine going and growing into the highest forms of corporate America. Somebody told you was stupid. Somebody told you was dumb at math, and you let that carry with you from the time that you was 11, 12 years old, and they told you that, and you believed it in high school. So you never tried. You went to college and you never picked the curriculum that was going to be conducive for your life because somebody told you and you believed them. You believed the devil. You believed some negative Nancy, and they told you that you'll never be able to compete at this level, and you carried it with you for the rest of your life. That is the real unresolved drama. You can't believe that somebody will love you for you. So now you got to lead with your money, or now you got to be somebody that you're not, or all your whole life you been a follower. God told you that you had a specific skill set. God told you that you have a unique capability that nobody has. You can see things, and you suppressed it, and you buried that talent, and you never explored it, or you never had a conversation. And when you die, and when you on your deathbed, because your death ain't going to be quick, your death is going to be slow and painful. You know why? Because you die in a slow death every single day. Every day you wake up with no objective, no goals, no risk tolerance, no variables that's playing any roles in your life, no mentorship. Everything you do is negative Nancy, and I'm waiting on the government to give me something, and I need social services, and why they don't care about us black people. Every day you die a little bit more because you certainly ain't living. And either you living or you dying. It ain't no in between. Either you living or you're dying. There's no in between. You can't wait for somebody to drop something so that you can get excited about watching them live an exceptional life. And I'm going to tell you, failure is phenomenal. Winning is phenomenal. You know why? Because it's life. It gives you life, the experiences, the ups, the downs, the crying, the successes, the eventual victory, the failing 30 times, and then the 31st time you finally break through, and then you reach your dreams, or you reach your opportunity, or maybe you had to do it over again because you didn't learn the lesson. All of those things are invigorating. It's the thing that life is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be perfect every day to where everything just falls into place. You're supposed to suffer. You're supposed to go through things. But we're so focused on what we don't like instead of being focused on how we can achieve that every day you've allowed yourself to believe that you're supposed to be in the hood. You believe that you are your city that you don't even own. You believe that you are your block. You still doing the same thing over and over again, thinking that you're going to get different results. And the reality is that you're supposed to be exceptional. And the people around you also think the same way as you. And that's why y'all all just falling into this routine. You all content. You all do the same thing when you get home every single day. You go to bed at the same time every day. You wake up miserable every day because you don't take any risks. You don't take no chances. And you scared as hell to step out of your own comfort zone, step out of your own way and actually do something that's going. What's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Every day, I can anticipate certain people that's going to be in this chat. Look at them. Look. You spend too much time downing people. If your translation of this is that I'm downing you instead of trying to encourage you, what happened to our men? Why y'all so gay? You so gay and weak. Why are the men so gay? Why are y'all so feminine and weak? What happened to, oh man, it's so much turmoil. Well, I don't know what's going to happen. You grew up with more turmoil around you, and then you started to get a little bit of success. You ain't even break through the $50,000 mark, and then all of a sudden you start turning into Rupert. Oh, why are they talking about us? We competitive. We men. We supposed to use this as motivation. If somebody beats you, or if somebody is saying something, or you see somebody winning, or they say, hey, man, this ain't enough for us. Oh, man. I don't look at that as somebody talking negative to me. I look at that as motivation. Man, listen, let's get it then. Skip it. I get angry at myself if I see somebody doing something that I should have done myself. I don't sit there and say, man, he always son. I say, man, I could have did that. Man, let me get my life together. Why are you so weak? Why are y'all in partnerships? Why are you following your women to the polls? Why are you letting some woman tell you what to do? Where's your backbone? Where's your balls at? How do you even get the gumption to type that to me in the chat, bro? That is so weak. I can't understand. I don't want to be around weak people. So soft. So soft. So easily offended. He hurt my feelings. I can't believe it. So what? Get up off your feet, bro, and do something. Stop being so easily offended. Why are men so easily offended? I can call women everything in the book because of their behavior. Hold them accountable, man. You a stupid little man. You want to be a whore in the streets, huh? Okay. So you giving up all of that box so everybody can hit it too. They come back to me. You know what? I was angry. And I ain't going to give you no prop, but I'm changing my life. The guys just be like, encourage me. Stop downing it. See it from my perspective. I'm not going to see it from your perspective because I'm never going to be you. I'm never going to be broke. I'm never going back to the hood, and I don't want to make $50,000. I made $50,000 when I was 16 years old. I don't want to go back to being 16 years old. You don't have to do the job that you're doing. You can do something else. I want to call you something else, but I can't get away with it on this platform. I want to really call you what I think about you. I want to really say it in real life. Raised by their mama. Who your daddy? Dwayne Wade? Your daddy Dwayne Wade? Want me to get you a dress too? You sit down when you pee? Doing the number one, peeing when you sit down. Grow up. Always downing people. Then get the fuck out of my live stream. Go to some other live stream where they're going to affirm you, where they're going to teach you how to do yoga and Pilates to center yourself. Then go somewhere else. Why you subscribe if you know what I'm going to say and you know how I talk and I have not changed? And the time that I've been on the internet talking about what it is that we need to do since we started this Millionaire Morning Show and After Hours program, I've been the same dude 100% of the time. I never changed how I talk to you. Why are you here and why are you subscribed every day if you're waiting for me to affirm you? I'm never going to do it. You're gay. What you need? What you want from me? I can see why these women don't believe in y'all. What's she supposed to come home to? She looking for some encouragement. She looking for somebody to lead them, and you looking for somebody to affirm you. Why you not supportive, baby? Oh my God, I can't take it. She just waiting. I wish she'd do something, slap me, encourage me, go out there and do something, go conquer something. Tell us, at least tell me where we going, baby. You waiting on her to give you some motivation. I'm nothing without a good woman. I ain't nothing without a good woman. That's why I'm going on a bust down your chick tour. I'm going on a bust down your chick tour this summer. I said it last night. You think that I was playing. Listen, if she choose me, I'ma choose her back. Don't get offended. Don't get mad at the game. I don't care. Don't worry about it. Don't feel like it ain't you. If she choose me, I'm choosing her back. I'm choosing all women this summer. If your chick choose me, I'ma choose her back. Every city I go to, I'ma get 3 hotel rooms. 1 for me and 2 for her. Actually, 1 for me, 1 for her, and 1 for you, so that you can sit in there by yourself. I'm going on a bust down your chick tour. Ladies, if you need encouragement, if you want a man that's going to give you everything you need, if you want somebody that's going to give you the motivation to be strong and then be able to live in your femininity, I'm coming to a city near you. It's called a bust down your chick tour. I want you the same way that you want me. You ain't got to worry about it. Listen, he chilling, he slow motion, he going to work his 38 and a half hours. I'm going to work you. While he working his 38 and a half, I'm going to work you. I know you looking for purpose. I know you looking for somebody to give you some motivation. I know you want to work for a man. I know you got unrealized gains in you, and I'm going to get it up out of you. You got value in you that has not been tapped into. I'm going to get it. I'm going to make you a whole woman. I'm going to make you a whole woman this summer. I promise you. Bust down your chick tour coming in 2025 summer. We going in. Don't ask me no questions. Just know I choose you the same way that you choose me. You're going to have to give me the choosing signal, but as soon as you do, I'm going to take your hand and I'm taking you right down there. I'm going to take you down that road. He ain't going to do nothing with you anyway. He utilizing you at 15%. I'm going to get 110% out of you. I'm going to make you a whole woman this summer. Ain't no more talking. Ain't no more negotiating. I'm not going to continue to motivate you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show her what it feels like so that she can think about me when she go back to you. And that way she have some level of motivation when she can get through life. I choose you too. I just found out the name. The name of the tour is I Choose You Too. I Choose You Too tour. It's the I Choose You Too tour. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. I'm not negotiating with these people no more. I'm not looking to motivate you. I'm going to motivate the person that you love the most. I'm going to be your wife's step baby daddy. Let's get it. Make sure and if you don't like it, then do something about it. Do something about it. Hold on to her. Do something. Go level up, get your money up, get motivated. If you love your family, if you don't want me to, it's the Heartbreak Family Tour. If you love your family, if you don't want me kicking over your son's fort on Saturday mornings when I come over for breakfast and then I send her back to you on Sunday afternoon, then make sure that you level up, take care of your business. Because some of y'all, I guess y'all just don't have no motivation unless somebody is going to bust down your chick. So we going to get there. We going to get there. If you go to jail, if you keep doing and selling Fenty, if you keep selling nickel and dime bags like you in high school, and if you go to jail, I'm coming over your house and I'm taking her down. I'm a fixer. Don't bail him out. Don't bail him out. Anton is coming. If you go to jail this summer, I'm coming over. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Don't go to jail then, and I won't be over. Protect your chick. Hide your chick. Hide them all. Mamas and sisters, I'm coming for you. You can't find a good man, I'm going to make sure that you get one. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats because I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of feminine people being feminine. Anton, why don't you see my plight? I'm going to see your plight. I got you. Plight seen. Plight seen. Darwin Johnson says, thanks for your passion. I appreciate you, Darwin. Thank you. And then my dog, Mike That Dude. Appreciate Mike That Dude for holding me down. Said, why we got to go? I don't know why you got to go to jail. Don't go to jail, and we ain't going to have no problems. Manuel AG says, Mr. Anton, the last 20 minutes of last night's show had me on the floor. Well, it looks like we're going to do a repeat of last night. Stephen Butler says, yesterday's live stream was powerful. It was fun. It was fun. Jax Locked In says, Anton Daniels, as a Dominican man trying to absorb the knowledge and apply it, I appreciate your content. Shout out to you, Jax. I appreciate you. The YT Denzel says, you're going to be on to the gay side too. Can't wait for you. Are you a power bottom? That's all right. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show your girl exactly how much of a power bottom I am. They smoke female on female weed strand, says Lamont. I don't know what's going on with these guys. James Watt says, AD cooking early as I transition from job to self-work. My peers always have backlash. I appreciate your value. Use men need this talk to get better. Big Saint 2K in the building says, I don't always agree with you, AD. I've learned so much free game. You've added value to YouTube University. Shout out to you, Big Saint. I appreciate you, bro. Jack says, Anton, I got my class A CDL as a 29-year-old Dominican. I'm going for my doctorate in business. I'm really with the Shout out to you. Carol. Shout out to Carol. Says, thanks to Tom Dog. I'm not dusty. Just started my degree in cybersecurity. My goal is to have my daughter become a millionaire if I don't make it. No, you gonna make it. You're going to make it, and you're going to pass it down into her. Just Christian says, some ninjas will get a job laying down just to get up and quit over hurt feelings. Don't worry about it. We going for it. Shout out to my dog, Mr. Lott. Says, yes, sir. It's one of the monologues. I want your chick. I want your chick. Crazy P says, chill, AD. You KO'd him already. I don't understand what's wrong. Elizabeth says, AD, you crazy, but I love you, though. I love you, too. You got me so weak with the you gay. Gay. Where's HR? Carrie can't stop me. Carrie can't do nothing but try to make an excuse for why I did it. Ask questions later. Eric Wealth Harris says, I choose you, tour sounds like a drink. well, 876 blog says, Tariffs on all dusty man. Kenneth Tatum says, rants are Hall of Fame speeches. DeMarco Thomas says, Anton, they chick said they want some razzle dazzle in their life. I got them. Listen, I've been in the gym. My stamina is up. I'm doing 2-a-days, and I'm not talking about working out. Deacon Weasel says, chicks normalize zesty male behavior. Yeah, whatever. We going to get it. We going to get them. I want them. I want your girl. I want her. If you don't want her, I want her. I'm going to get the most out of her. Come work for Anton Daniels. Come on over to Death Row. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Before we get into the tariffs, breaking news over from the Dominican Republic, former baseball players, celebrities, a bunch of people has passed away. Over 100 people died after a roof collapsed over in the Dominican Republic. Have y'all heard anything about this? This is a big story right now. All of the news agencies are talking about this. Check it out.
At least 113 people are reported dead in the nightclub roof collapse in the Dominican Republic, including merengue singer Ruby Perez. Officials say the singer's body was pulled from the rubble overnight. They say former athletes and politicians are also among the dead, and more than 150 hospitalized with injuries. Now crews are working around the clock to find survivors as we get new video of the incident. ABC's Victor Kendo has the latest, and we do want to warn you, these images are hard to watch.
The devastating scenes from the Dominican Republic after a roof collapsed at a packed nightclub in Santo Domingo, killing at least 113 people and injuring more than 150. Now, investigators are looking at videos like these. This one recorded seconds before the horrific moment around 12:30 a.m. Tuesday. He's pointing at the roof, saying something fell. The singer performing on stage also looking up, then the collapse. In another video, this group rushing away from the dance floor moments before the tragic accident. First responders raced to the scene to rescue any survivors. This man taken out on a stretcher alive. Drone footage putting the scope of the catastrophe on full display. Members of the performing band, including lead singer Ruby Perez, were among those killed. A local governor killed too, Nelsie Cruz, sister of former Seattle Mariners pitcher Nelson Cruz. Former Major League Baseball players Tony Blanco and World Series champion pitcher Octavio Dotel also dying in the incident.
That's crazy.
New York Mets holding a moment of silence for their former player. One of the owners of that nightclub posting a video, a message to the families impacted, saying in part, there are no words to express the pain caused by this event. Everything we do now has a single purpose, to be worthy of your pain and to support you.
I like to get multiple different sources because I want to make sure that I get the most recent update of what's happening. So I'm going to look at it from this lens too.
Turn now to the horrific roof collapse, killing at least 58 people, including a former major league pitcher for the Yankees and the Mets. This happened at a popular nightclub in the Dominican Republic. Hundreds were at the Jet Set nightclub. It suddenly goes dark when that roof comes down. Tonight, the building is in ruin after a desperate scramble to free people who were trapped. Dozens are dead, more than 160 injured, and a warning here tonight. The images are disturbing. Here's Victor Akendo.
Tonight, authorities in the Dominican Republic investigating this devastating roof collapse at a popular nightclub that has now left at least 66 people dead and more than 160 wounded. Video circulating online showing what appears to be the moments before the roof came crashing down around 12:30 a.m. This man pointing at the roof, saying something fell. That singer performing on stage also looking up. Within seconds, the collapse and screams as the video goes dark.
That's pretty crazy, bro.
In another video, this group rushing away from the dance floor moments before the tragic
All
accident.
right, we get it. That's pretty crazy, man, to think that you could, because I mean, it ain't even nothing that you can say. It's not that anybody did anything wrong unless, like somebody said in the chat, you want to talk about the engineer of the building. Somebody said that the engineer probably on his way out of town right now. But this is one of the reasons why you have so many stringent issues and building inspectors and all of this type of stuff is because you don't want to have to be dealing with this. This is crazy, bro. It's just crazy to think that this could just happen out of the blue. You could be going somewhere, partying, having a good time, interacting with friends, thinking you on vacation, listening to a band, and the next thing you know, the whole roof collapsed? This is on some Final Destination type stuff.
The images from the aftermath are graphic. Bodies on top of the rubble. Just behind them, a man and woman apparently trapped. First responders scaling slabs of concrete across the club floor. You can see what was the bar. The scope of the devastation seen from above. Authorities using heavy machinery to dig through the debris. Hours later, this man pulled out of the destroyed club on the stretcher, alive. The staggering death toll climbing all day as we learn more about the victims that include a saxophonist playing with the band at the time of the collapse, politicians, and athletes. World Series champion and former pitcher for the Houston Astros, New York Yankees, and New York Mets, Octavio Dotel, dying on his way to the hospital. And David, tonight the investigation is underway as doctors from across the country are being asked to come to Santo Domingo to help treat the wounded. David?
Just a horrific scene there, Victor Akendo. Victor, thank you.
That's crazy. That is
when
very
I started drinking
unfortunate
warm water to help me lose weight, my friends
you got to pray for all of the families. You got to start having a conversation about. That's why I believe in just living my life to the fullest, bro. That's why I genuinely believe in living my life to the fullest. I'm not leaving nothing a chance. I'm not waiting for something to happen to me. I am absolutely going to be responsible with my finances and take care of business. But I got to live life to the fullest, bro. I'm not waiting for something to pop off. I'm not going to be sitting there holding on to a dream. And when I retire, this is where I'm going to travel to. Bro, in an instant, everything could change. Everything could be different. Just like that. Baseball players, regular people, saxophonists, all of these people's lives are completely transformed now because the roof just collapsed. You just in a place and the roof just collapsed. And that's just that. And everybody just gone and everything changed. Next week, this story is not even going to be a story. We're going to be talking about something else. Somebody else is going to appear on Patrick Bet-David's platform saying that Diddy touched them. Life is going to move on. We're going to completely forget about this. And all of those people, as shocked as we are right now, as much as we saying rest in peace, pray for the families, as horrific as this is, people are going to move on and they not even going to remember that story a week from now. Maybe not even 2 or 3 days from now. By this afternoon, we're going to be on to something completely different. It's going to be a new tariff. The press secretary going to have a conversation. Somebody is going to be talking about how they a single baby mama. We're going to do a reaction video to it. Somebody is going to have some problems with some woman or something like that. Something is going to happen that takes our mind off of this and on to something completely different, and nobody will care. Nobody will care. Man, you got to live your life. You got to truly be all the things that you want to be and get it all in. I believe personally that I am not leaving nothing on the floor. Nothing on the floor. Every dream that I have, every experience that I want to get, I am going for it. I am not leaving nothing to chance at all. Yep, right. For real, Foxo, you says, remember Luigi? Nobody cares. The Luigi Marcion, the person that killed the United Healthcare Group CEO person, a subsidiary of the major United Healthcare company, nobody cares. Remember when everybody got laid off? All of the United Healthcare employees was getting proposals for layoffs. Remember when USAID and the federal government, all of those employees, guess what? Nobody cares. I just seen a video today of a woman that gave an update of her getting laid off 2 months ago, and guess what? Nobody cares. She was on there saying, yeah, I blocked people that had negative comments. Guess what? They moved on and nobody cares. They gonna mourn you for 5 seconds. They gonna mourn you for 5 seconds and they gonna move on. You're gonna live your whole life to have a phenomenal funeral and they gonna move on. Nobody gonna come to your cemetery. Nobody gonna revisit you. Nobody gonna put a flower on your grave. They are going to move on with their life because they got their own problems and they got their own things that they want to deal with. You gonna have to take control of your life and live it up right now. When I see stuff like that, the first thing I think to myself is, listen, time to get it in. This weekend, on my birthday, I think my birthday is like Sunday, I'm doing all of the things that I want to do. I don't care what the weather is. I'm pulling out I'm going to drive every car. I'm going skating. I might take a day trip and come back the same day on a round trip flight on a Saturday. I'm going to still be responsible. I'm going to take care of my business. Real talk. I'm going to take care of my business and then I'm going to go live. I'm going to get up early in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to take care of my business. By 9 o'clock, I might be at the airport. I might come back at 7 p.m. and then hit the skating rink at 10:30. And then wake up the next day and do the same. Every day, that's how I live my life. I go swimming in my building. I work out. I hit the streets. I go and make it rain. I have crazy emotions. I party with people. I come back and I tell the stories and frame it in a way that y'all consume it on after hours. And then we wake up and we do the same thing the next day. Party. I done lived 4 lifetimes because I'm not waiting on something to happen to me, boy. I'm not waiting on something. They say, Anton, you don't get enough sleep. I sleep on a plane, dog. The only reason I like to take Ubers instead of drive is because I can sleep in a car on my way to the destination. I wake up. What we doing? We partying? That's why it's important to get some money. That's why it's important to make the sacrifice when you're young and get rich. Because you want the option to go and do what you want to do when you want to do it. I'm blowing everything. I'm leaving everything on the floor. I'm going to make it and I'm going to spend it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to put it up. I'm going to save some. I'm going to invest a lot of it. And the rest of it, I'm blowing it like nothing ever before. You're going to see a life that is so incredible by the time that it's all over. They're going to be like, man, that dude, he really did take life serious. Because you never know what is going to happen. Real talk. And I'm going on a Bust Down Your Girl tour this summer. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go on to the next part of the show. Never know. Every time I get on a plane, I'll be like, Lord, keep me safe. But you know I had a good time before I got on this plane. Deacon Weasel says masculinity been ran out of the black household. Crazy. Jessica Rabbit. What up, Jess? You better be built like Jessica Rabbit, too. That used to be one of my favorite cartoons growing up. Spending money to spew hate. Free money is awesome. This guy experience says, thank you for the return to office advice and interview like a king video. I got a promotion to 2 levels to support. Next is return to school and certs. Congratulations, and shout out to the bag chasers. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into these tariffs. So Chinese tariffs, all right? The Chinese has responded because Trump did reciprocal tariffs where he did up it to 104%. Chinese said, I see you, I'll raise you to 84% tariffs on anything that goes into China from the United States of America. All right, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is what's happening.
Well, we're just getting some breaking news here, actually. The Finance Ministry has just made an announcement that remember, there were 34% tariffs on all US goods coming into China. That's now been increased to 84%. An 84% hit on all US goods coming into China. Obviously, that's a clear blow to every US company wanting to sell into this huge market. It no doubt is going to send more shockwaves through, I would imagine, the markets, especially in the US. But like I say, especially hurting any American company wanting to sell into this market. There may well be other measures. The other thing that was mentioned in that statement.
Let me ask y'all a question, because I would imagine that almost every Chinese company is selling or trying to sell to the United States of America or selling to the world. I would imagine it. China is depending on the world and the United States of America because, let's be clear, the United States is China's biggest selling partner. They're China's biggest trade partner. Have you realized that we're the biggest trade partner to all of the different countries in the world? We're the biggest trade partner to Canada. We're the biggest trade partner to China. We're the biggest trade partner to Europe. We're the biggest trade partner to India. We're the biggest trading partner to all countries, small, big, everything. But here's the thing. It's lopsided. It's 92-8. It's 92-8. We're looking to break into a market, and we've been looking to break into the same market for the last 40 years, and they've broken into our market. And so it's a 92-8, but we're the biggest trading partners. So they are exporting all of their products out into the world, and then we're importing all of their products into the United States of America because we're the biggest consumers, right? And I've explained this yesterday, so this should not be new news. For all of you that didn't watch it, make sure you go back. I got it time-stamped on yesterday's live stream. You can watch it, or you can wait for it to get clipped up and be released to you. But here's the fact of the matter is, you said China ain't no small fish. That has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. It doesn't matter how big they are if we were never interdependent on them in order for us to be successful in the first place. In the auto industry, and I don't know what the percentages are today, but in the auto industry for American automakers, did you know that over 90% of all profits, not revenue, because you can sell a lot, but it can cost you just as much. 90% of all profits historically in the auto industry has come from the United States of America, even though we sell cars worldwide. %90 of all vehicles, all of the revenue, all of the profitability that comes into American companies historically has been from the United States of America. So we are ramping up volume. We then put in incentives for them to buy our vehicles. They then make sure that they mess it up, or they do little things to make sure that they sabotage it. They incentivize their people only buy Chinese just so they can pretend like they're a fair trading partner when they have been treating our companies like trash. You don't see anybody saying, you know what, I sell a lot of goods over to the Chinese. The Chinese is buying all of my stuff in their country. It don't hit the same. For people trying to break into the Chinese market, who have you ever heard? Who? Name one company that is trying to break into the Chinese market that get the overall majority of their profits from Chinese consumers. They keep telling us, oh man, they got over 440 million cars on the road. Oh man, they got over 1 billion people in China. Okay, so how does that benefit me? How does that benefit me? You know why it doesn't benefit me? Because we don't sell anything over there. So the thing that we need to focus on is becoming interdependent on our own infrastructure, on our own industry. Then this is now the opportunity for us to really figure out what it is that we need to do on American soil.
Is that Beijing is taking the Trump administration to the WTO. We sort of knew that before, though, the World Trade Organization. But there may be more measures to come. That's just been flashed right now, as I say. So, you know, it's on. There's no backing down from the Chinese government. They said there would be resolute countermeasures if Donald Trump made good on his promise to increase the US tariff on Chinese goods to a minimum of 104%. And so we're seeing that. We're seeing the beginnings of that. Now, you know, what's Donald Trump going to do in the face of yet another increase from here? Where does it stop? I mean, the Chinese government, for example, has been saying over the last couple of days that from its point of view, the Trump administration has shown no inclination whatsoever to enter into negotiations. Today, via its sort of proxies, I suppose, state media reporters on their social media platforms, it's been kind of ridiculing the fact that other countries are going with the begging bowl to Washington and saying, oh, please, Donald Trump, can you take these tariffs off us? They're saying this is playing right into Donald Trump's hands, that actually he wants to pick off countries one by one. And the contrast that's being made here is that Beijing says it supports multilateral trade efforts whereby rules apply to everybody. And you know, there would be some sympathy for that, especially in Southeast Asian countries, developing countries like Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam. They've been hit very hard by tariffs from the US. And funnily enough, in a meeting today, Xi Jinping said that China has to increase its trade with, guess where? Its neighboring countries, those very same countries. So you can see that they're trying to make something good out of the trade chaos that's coming, you know, from this onslaught from the Trump administration.
Yeah, I mean, that news literally coming into you as we asked you that question, Stephen. We're just going to keep you there for a second, but show you the DAX, the German index there, because you can see on the screen as that news just came in.
Crush everything. Shut it all down. Mess up every market. Mess up all of the money. Yes, mess it all up. Mess it all up. Make it a buying opportunity for us. Shut it all down unless it benefits us. What purpose do we have here? You want me to just show up for free to your party? You want me to bring all of my audience over to your party? Nah, we not doing that. We shutting everything down. I start tariffing people. You don't notice it. I didn't announce it, but I started tariffing people a long time ago, 100%. People used to hit me up. They used to take advantage of me. I'm not going to go into detail. No. I'm not going to talk about it at all because it is what it is, and we dealing with it accordingly. I've been the one selling all of the tickets. I've been the one going to all of the events. Everybody that show up, they show up as a result of me. And I be like, so how does this actually benefit me and my people? You know what? Tariff. Shut it all down. Shut it all down. I believe in tariffs. I believe my price is my price now. My price is my price. No more handouts. No more subsidizing other. Listen, the last thing I want anybody to say is, you know what? You a real one for that. I don't want your accolades. I want your money. I want your moolah. I want this to be no more taking advantage because I'm a real one. You give out all of the free information. Hey, man, how come you just don't make it available for everybody? Nope. For what? I'm more profitable keeping all money in and making sure that I give it back to my people. You know what I do? Get my people that I live stream with. I'll be like, hey, listen, 20% raises for everybody. We going to pour it back into y'all because y'all are the ones that's loyal. I'm not subsidizing nobody else because I'm a real one, because I'm from the city. I'm from all of that. Nope. No more. No more. Everything is competitive.
A steep drop there in the German markets. And we're hearing on the Reuters news agency that US stock indexed futures have turned sharply lower after China announced those additional tariff measures on US goods. So, of course, this is a fast-moving story. Stephen, just to remind our viewers really of the scale of this, how important is US-China trade? So much of what people use in both countries comes from the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely enormous, and you can imagine why such an announcement
7 p.m.
would, end up in causing such huge drop-offs in stocks, even in other countries, because you've got the global superpowers at each other's throats, enormous volumes of trade from one country to another. And remember, they're both building things with components that come from each other's countries. And so if you're putting a tariff on one country, you're also hurting your own manufacturing. So, all these American companies, Donald Trump says, no worries, people are going to buy American. Well, those cars and what have you, they're still using widgets that are possibly coming out of China. They've got to pay more for that now, the car producers. And so this is why the ripples are being
finally seen the Dusties. He came in. Good morning, bro. We don't make no thing. How we gonna start a trader war? Listen, family. Where do I start? Well, listen, how about this? I'm going to revisit that and I'll answer it after we get done looking at the video, okay?
All over the world, and it's why the shock of yet another announcement from China, responding yet again to more tariffs from Donald Trump, would be causing so much angst, especially when it comes to analysts, economists. They're saying this is all disastrous for the global economy.
Yeah, Stephen, we're still getting more information from China's Commerce Ministry, and I appreciate you've been talking to me, so you've been unable to see this. But I'm just going to read out what we've got in front of us. It says that the Commerce Ministry has added 6 US entities to the unreliable entity list, and also says the Commerce Ministry has added 12 US entities to the export control list. Of course, I appreciate I'm just throwing this at you now, but if there's anything you can read into that.
What y'all tell me this. Help me to understand this. What products do you feel as though you need from China in order to make sure that your life, what part of your life stops if we no longer consume all of the garbage that we get over from China, including Fenty? Let's not forget that. Let's also not forget all of the people that they killed by continuing to ship products in here that we do not need. I did a video the other day, and it was so funny because I dropped it kind of sort of in the late night, in the middle of the night. I dropped it in the middle of the night. And it was of Charlie Kirk, and he was debating with a black woman on the campus. And she was debating with him about whether or not black people, or whether or not white people are racist toward black people in all of the state of the country and Donald Trump and all of this stuff. And one of the things that she asked him was, do you think, and I'm trying to summarize it here. She said, do you think that black people have been placed at a disadvantage historically, not today, but historically based off of the things that the federal government did? And Charlie Kirk said, no, for the most part, as far as today. And he was like, she said, well, what about the government's role in planting drugs and all of this stuff inside of the community and stuff? And Charlie Kirk says, Well, no, because the government didn't make you take the drugs, and I thought that was one of the most disingenuous things. I've never seen Charlie Kirk stumble in this way. And I thought it was very disingenuous. And when I dropped the video and I said, nope, nope, two things can be true at the same time. We need to take ownership and responsibility and not run in the victim Olympics. Just because they put it in front of your face doesn't mean you have to take it. But you can't deny the fact that the federal government, they planted the drugs. They flooded the communities with these drugs. Yeah, it was y'all decision of whether or not you take it, but does that remove the government's responsibility for how they continue to pour drugs over from other countries, and the CIA played a role in filling your communities with drugs? Two things can be true at the same time. 100%. And you know what people said inside of the chat? No, Anton, you wrong. It's all on us. It was 100% on the community to not take the drugs. I said, okay, cool. Well, if that's the case, then why are we so fervent in trying to remove fentanyl from coming across our borders? Why were we so gung-ho about making sure that we held pharmaceutical companies accountable for the opioid crisis? Why were we so gung-ho about all of those things? How come it was such a pandemic when it came to meth heads and it's starting to infiltrate communities outside of the black community, and the government's role and the pharmaceutical companies and all of this thing? How come y'all are making sure that y'all stopping China from sending fentanyl over here if it's our choice of whether we use it or not? The people were sitting there so mad at me. So mad at me. Listen, just because I have to be responsible for my actions does not mean that you are not responsible for putting it in there in the first place. 100% two things could be true. 100% two things could be true. I have to fight off the temptation, but it doesn't mean that you're supposed to put it in front of my face. What do you mean? Some of these kids came out as crack babies. They came out suffering, addicted to crack because of the things that was planted in them before they was ever born. I try to empower people to overcome your circumstances and not make excuses, because making excuses is not going to help your situation. So that's why I push people so hard. But two things absolutely can be true at the same time. And if not, then why are we so gung-ho on holding China accountable for the Fenty that they continue to push over here illegally? If nobody is taking it, then how come that's not a big deal? Because if you go down Philadelphia, if you go on Kensington Avenue, if you go on Figueroa, you will see a completely different picture. It's a completely different picture. Multiple things could be true at the same time, but it doesn't mean that we need to lean into it and wait for somebody to give you a handout to fix your situation.
Well, this is what happened last time. You know, this is the combination of last time that 34% was whacked on all US goods. There was also an extra bunch of companies added.
I will tell you that when you get into certain situations, and this is how I know people, they live in their little bubble and they're not aware. Do you know that when you get into certain situations that some of that stuff is inserted into you without you even knowing, which makes you unaware that you're even coping with it and addicted to it in the first place? Do you know what the first thing that they do when they started to get into human trafficking, the first way that they kept the women under control, the first way that they kept the people under control, is they make them take drugs. They insert drugs into their system and they make them take it before they even do so. So then you see the residual effects from it, and that's the way that they control you. I know plenty of people that got addicted to crack cocaine because they smoked something that was laced in there that they didn't even know what was in it. I know plenty of people that got that monkey on their back, that heroin, because something was placed into something that they unsuspectingly took. Or I knew plenty of people that went to a party and they thought that they was just doing one thing, and then something completely different happened, and then they got that monkey on their back. It's not always so simple as you saying, well, you shouldn't have took it in the first place. There are plenty, and I'm telling you, plenty of situations where things happen involuntarily that then puts you at a disadvantage for a long time. But it's going to take some strong accountability and ownership of the situation in order for you to remove yourself from that circumstance. Plenty of situations. And that's how I know people live in a bubble, because you just privileged. You haven't seen it in real life, but when you actually see it, When you see somebody going through withdrawals, when you see somebody foaming at the mouth, when you can see this, when you've seen people coping with it, and the only way that they knew how to do so was to go back to the thing that they were interdependent on so that they don't get sick, it's different. It's a whole nother different circumstance.
To this unreliable trading list. Now, normally that's someone who is either
change your environment so you're not involuntarily in those situations. Yeah. Okay, so you're telling a child that's 11, 12, 13 years old to change their environment so that they're not in those situations. Are y'all listening to yourself? Are you listening to yourself? You can't have a child change their environment. That's why they call them crack babies.
doing some sort of trade that involves Taiwan or Hong Kong or something that's upset Beijing, and so they're using that as an excuse to whack these companies onto those lists, and basically that blocks you from trading here, and it could see the people involved in that being sanctioned by Beijing if they try to do some sort of trading with China. But what China has done, though, because it hasn't, there's more Chinese trade going into the US than the other way. So what's Beijing going to do? It can't exactly match the overall hit on tariffs, so it'll cherry pick things that it decides might really hurt the US, especially hurt into Donald Trump's heartland. That's why they struck last time at the agricultural sector. And it might happen again. We could see more moves that they've flagged in social media this week via state media reporters that could be something else the Chinese government might consider. Yet more moves to block agricultural products. Now, so far, unless I'm not seeing that, but it doesn't seem to have come out so far as part of these latest moves announced tonight. But that could be something we see down the road. So
I'm looking forward to seeing what more is going to happen in these retaliatory tariffs. More importantly, as these countries continue to flood in and they make deals with the United States of America, I will be the first person to give you the updates and give you the context behind it, because we're all going to learn together. Make sure. You know what? I see people in the chat willing to debate me on this. It's funny. You know what's funny about it? Is because we just went through a pandemic. We just went through a pandemic where they told y'all you wouldn't even be able to feed your family and go back to work unless you took the vaccine, and you took it, and you sitting here telling us about how some people didn't have a choice on a circumstance when you as an adult made the decision because somebody bullied you into it, and not like, because if you took it, cool. If you didn't take it, cool. But if you did that on your own measures, that's one thing. If you did it because you were fearful of what somebody was going to do to you, don't sit here and talk to me in the chat about whether or not y'all sat there and voted for Biden because you thought that they was going to forgive your student loans. Y'all sitting here asking me for coaching calls on how you can solve your student loan crisis, and you under duress right now. That is your drug of choice. I can name 1,000 different circumstances that is relative to the example that I just gave, but because you not on crack, you think that you the exception. That's why you poor, because you don't even understand how society is working. You a puppet. You a puppet. You only believe and have the talking points that you have because somebody gave it to you. You don't even know how to think for yourself. You're communicating to me like a Manchurian candidate. You are controlled. You don't even know how to think for yourself. I could tell you 1,000 different examples and you still gonna believe that you got control. You don't even have control over your own children. The family court is gonna determine how often you see them. You don't have no control. What are you talking? Who you talking to? Listen, you're not talking to somebody that don't understand exactly what's going on. You're talking to somebody How did I get muted? How did I get muted? I never even pressed nothing. How did I get muted? I never pressed the button. I promise to God, I never pressed the button. I got you. I'm here. I don't know how I got muted. I promise to God, I never muted I never pressed the button to mute myself. I never pressed the button to mute myself. I promise to God, I never pressed the button. I don't know. Maybe it was God. I ain't gonna repeat it. Should I repeat it? Should I repeat it? It was bad. It was bad. Oh, you want me to tell you what I was saying? I'll tell you exactly what I was saying. I tell it to you to your face. This is what I was saying. For all of y'all that sat there and said, no, man, it's the parents' fault. It's this and that and so on and so forth. These are the same people that made sure that they vaccinated their children and they put that foolishness in there during the pandemic. You don't even know what you gave your kid. You don't even know what you put into your kid. The same people talking is the same people that made sure that they put that poison inside of their children and then they sent them to school. They sent them to school right after that. Y'all want to know what else I was saying? They put it in their babies. Y'all don't even know what's in your food. Y'all don't even know what's in your food. You get government subsidies and social services to go and get the poison that you put inside of your children every single day. You don't even have a clue. You don't even know. You don't even know how to read the label. You don't know what's on the back of your food. Your water ain't even regular water, bro. Your water is not even regular water, broski. You don't even own your own water. I ain't gonna say it over. I ain't gonna say it over. We just gonna continue on with the show. Yes. Yes. And you know what's so funny? When you know better, you still don't do better because you still give it. Never mind. Let me be quiet. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me read a couple of super chats, and we're gonna go ahead and keep going. Let me see. Eric Welfare said, I just had this conversation with my father this morning about how time is the most important thing to me. I'm no longer wasting time with things or people that don't profit me anything. Everything is a business, y'all. Everything is a business. Coach Cheese says, hurry up and buy. Hurry up and buy. Shout out to Coach Cheese. Executive Suite Emily says, I don't know what happened last night, but 80 is on demon time this morning. The buying fixing summer. Comment was, listen, sometimes you gotta show them. You can't talk about it no more. I'm going on tour this summer, starting in June. First Patreon meetup is going to be in June, probably DC. I'm going to be there. Wouldn't it take lots of time and money to build the infrastructure so that we're interdependent? Yep, it's going to take time. It is going to take time. And that's why we're going to continue to work on it. Eric Welfare says, tariffs is my very word. I bought more stock. Moses King says, morning, AB, what are your thoughts on Carmelo Anthony's situation? Don't think I've heard your take on it. Carmelo Anthony situation. Is that the boy over in Frisco that got caught up with stabbing the other boy? I did a video on that. Let me see something. Is it some new news? Yeah, that's the track meet guy. I told y'all what was going to happen. Civil rights group discusses investigation. Let me see. The Next Generation Action Network, a civil rights and human rights organization in North Texas, met on Tuesday to talk about the investigation into the deadly stabbing at a Frisco track meet and threats against the suspect's family in days that followed. I told you there was going. Dog, listen. They've already raised concerns about it being racially motivated threats directed towards the Anthony family after this. I'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about it on Thursday. I'll deep dive into it. I already told y'all what they was going to do. I said it the minute that I read it. I said that this was going to become a race issue immediately. This wasn't going to become a bad student versus a bad student or a good student versus a bad student. I said that they were going to make this a race issue. And boy, if I wasn't right, look at Eric D. Anti-vaccine saves lives. Please stop with the anti-vax nonsense. I'm not saying that I'm anti-anything. I said that people insert things into their children that they don't have any information on exactly what is in it or what it's going to do or the long-term ramifications of it. Man, they rushed that out, bro. They rushed that out during the pandemic. Y'all not going to sit here and gaslight me. We don't know what it is. But if you were going to take it, that's one thing. But if you was going to put it into your children, that's a completely different conversation. You put something into your children and you don't know what was in it. You have no clue what was in it. We did it out of ignorance. I don't know what part that I'm saying that don't make sense. If you take it as an adult, that's one thing. But if you're pushing it into your children and you don't even understand what you're pushing into your children, that is an entire issue. That is the point that I was saying. I'm willing to stand on whatever happens to me. I'm not willing to push that on my daughter. My daughter did not take that garbage. I refused. Me and Rita together, we was like, you know what? Nope. We are not we not putting that in our daughter. I'm not putting no vaccine into her that's been rushed to the market. I don't know what the agenda is. I don't know what the effects are. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not giving this to my daughter. I refuse to let my daughter get that trash. No. Under no circumstances was I going to put that inside of my daughter. Into my young kid, you could forget it. You could forget it. No way that I was going to put that inside of my daughter. You can. I'm not. I'm not going to put that on her. Let me get into the rest of this. Moses King says, let me read some more of these super chats and we're going to get over to Trump. Morning, AD, what are your thoughts on that? I think it's going to make it a race issue. I can deep dive into it tomorrow. I'll get it first thing tomorrow. Josh says the United States taking more goods from the world than the world takes from us. The media trying to make it sound like we only going to feel the tariffs. The pain is about to go. No, the pain is going to go exponentially that way. That way. Shout out to Josh. I appreciate you. Thank you for holding me down. Jerome Gray says, good morning, bro. We don't make nothing. Oh, yeah, I read that one already. Enos Luby says, you collecting back tariffs on Rilla's laptop? 401k. Will it impact my 401k? Nope. Not unless you sell it today. Not unless you sell right now. Not unless you take a withdrawal right now. Let it sit and continue to invest in it and max out. $23,000 per year. You can max out on your 401k. If you can do a Roth 401k, that'd be even better. Chris Chapman says, AD, do you think China will start a real war given that they have no leverage in this tariff war? These are empty threats since most American companies cannot operate in China. No, I don't think that they'll start no war. Uncle Anton, you want me to bend? Coach He says, Uncle Anton, you want me to bend Master IP knee? Nah. Give us the word and Daniel lights are on that. Nah. We like diverse thoughts and diverse opinions, even if I get back on the people in the chat. It's me going at them the same way that they come at me. I don't believe in censoring anybody. Temu, AliExpress business is in shambles right now. Facts. Been flooding our market with all of that trash anyway. China will not survive this. They better do something fast. Just became a Patreon member. Stock Club tonight. Shout out to Prof Dottie. Appreciate you, big dog. Wyatt says, on your post for Stock Club, confused me. It says, I'm sorry. I'll update that shortly. America First says Trump is leveling the playing field. We can do it ourselves. Back to the American made. I love it. I love it too. Trey D says black folk are reactionary, not politically savvy, which is a bad combination. Executive Suite MLE says the Chinese will lose this war because they don't honor the first principle in business. The customer is always right. What's the biggest customer? We the biggest customer. Leslie Williams, what up, Leslie? Says, Mr. AD, I want to thank you for speaking the truth. Today has been on a roll of truth coming from you. I pray ears was open today. Talk about it, baby. I love you, Leslie. Talk text, my bad. Don't worry about it, Jerome Gray. Coach E says, being an ex-addict of box, I definitely understand you have to be self-driven to motivate that destruction, to remove that destruction from your environment. Blessings are up. Shout out to you. Hardhead says, you're right. I know many of the people still not right to this day because of laced drugs. They'll never be right. They not ready for that jab talk, Tom Dog. Trey D says, black folks say white folk the devil as they vaccinate their whole family from the devil vaccine. Manuel AG, I don't believe that anybody is the devil. I believe that everybody is subjected to demonic forces. I like my white people, black people, everybody. Manuel AG says black community raised $200,000 for lawyer fees. We something else, ain't we? Cynthia Haynes says 80 educate them on how the crack epidemic broke up and down one's personal choice. Many of them are struggling families. Crack destroyed our already undeserved, broken, poverty-stricken communities. Okay, Cynthia, I'll take it even further. I'll take it even further. It wasn't just that the people were taking crack cocaine in their communities. The people that were coming home from war, the veterans, were already addicted to drugs before they got back from war, from the federal government, as well as the CIA continuing to pour drugs into our community at the time. Now, obviously, I didn't have enough time to go into and deep dive and have that conversation because I was just reviewing a video from Charlie Kirk versus a black girl college student. But many of our veterans had already came home addicted from the same things they were shipping over here in the first place. It mean it was a choice. How was it a choice if they was already poisoned before they came home and they were looking to cope with not only the PTSD that they dealt with from the war, but also they were fathers and husbands and people that were a part of the community before they even came back into the United States of America? Oh, no, it's their choice whether or not. No, it wasn't their choice. It was a hard road to take accountability for your life so that you can get back on track and fix your family. But absolutely, positively, these guys were already on everything that they was on before they got back into the United States of America. Combine that with the fact that they had no money, no jobs, and all they had to was to turn to the streets. What did you think was going to happen? They poisoned you before you even got here. The pillars of your community were already addicted to heroin. We could debate that all day long. Two things can be true at the same time. See, he was just on a college campus debating with her. It would have been a different conversation when we was talking. It would have been and listen, I love Charlie Kirk, but I'm telling you that some things we need to deep dive into. I don't know how old he is. I'm not sure how familiar he is with what everything is going on, but I'm telling you, crazy. Y'all ain't even got to watch American Gangster. You can go and watch Dead Presidents. Go watch Dead Presidents with Lorenz Tate, Bokeem Woodbine, Chris Tucker. Go watch my dog Cuddy. Go watch Dead Presidents. It will tell you exactly what happened and why people started organizing inside of the community in the first place. Go watch Dead Presidents. It's a phenomenal movie. Phenomenal movie about how he wound up becoming a preacher, but he was still really crazy. All of those people. Come on, man. Let's talk about it. Cynthia Haynes, what up, though? I appreciate you. AG Crack destroyed our already undeserved, broken, poverty-stricken communities. Many of them are struggling families. It was a real thing. Rashawn Irving says he might be getting out. There's a new video that tells a different story. Jason A-Team says, do your research on the spike protein. It is some real devilish technology and destroys your body pretty much whatever it's programmed to do. Nasty. N. Patterson says, I work in healthcare and would not take the jab. I could have lost my job. I put it in God's hands and it all worked out. I like that. You stood on business. You did what was best for you. It's cool, Trump. It's cool when they do it. It's a problem when we do it. When the bully stands up, it's an issue. Whiskey Pierce says, Anton, sir, I'm glad I bought my equipment. All of my equipment, growing, adding more space to the studio. Can't wait to finish and start advertising Tariffs. Time t-shirts is up. Jay Reed says, when timing people out, we time it to people out in the chat now. Who did I time out in the chat? If somebody says something crazy, egregious, or disrespectful, you can't say something crazy, egregious, and disrespectful. But moderators, they know what they doing. The moderators ain't censoring people like that. Night J says, Vietnam ruined so many of our parents. My dad said the draft took out his block in the hood. Agent Orange ruined his kids. All of us. Crazy stuff. Jay Reed says, Eric D's a sucker. Don't take it out on me. Y'all so mean. Y'all so mean. So Eric D, you timing people out because they got a difference of opinion in you, big dog? Don't do that, Eric D. Don't do it. If that's what you're doing, don't do it. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let's talk about Trump. Trump is celebrating tariffs, and he signs pro-coal executive orders for us to start unleashing our energy and become energy independent instead of depending on other countries, other nations, and other alternative sources for us to be able to get our energy. Check it out. We're not going to go through the whole thing. We're just going to let them talk about it.
Practice with the lifting things, I will say, but they are great people, and I know them indirectly for a long, that includes you guys, for a long time, and they're great people, and with great families, and come from areas of the country that we love, and we really respect. And I want to thank Secretary Doug Burgum for doing such an incredible job. From the day I met him, I knew I wanted to have him in my cabinet. He took a shot at running, and he was so good and so solid that he made no news, and that was good. But I saw him, and I saw his beautiful wife, Catherine, and I said that they're going to be a team. They are a great team, and they're going to be working for this country someday. And one of the first people I called after I won. So thank you very much. And along with the Energy Secretary, Chris Wright, and I was going to make Doug actually the Energy Secretary. And he said, sir, you have one person who's much better than me at this, Chris Wright. I said, who the hell is Chris Wright? I have no idea who he is. And then I learned that he's the most respected person in the energy business by far, far and away. For Doug to say that Doug's got a big ego, it was very tough for him to say that. Catherine was there, right? Catherine, you said, wow, I've never heard that before. But Chris, you guys are fantastic. Stand up, all three of you, please stand up. Yeah, that's a great team. It's no better team than that. I mean, they're going to produce energy the likes of which nobody's seen before. You know, we need to do the AI, all of this new technology that's coming online. We need more than double the energy, the electricity that we currently have. You take all of the electricity in the country right now for houses, for buildings, for everything. We need to more than double it to be number one. We're now way ahead of everybody at AI. China's in second place, but way behind. And they're going to be producing a lot of energy and a lot of electricity for this. And so are we, and we're going to get approvals very fast. And I would say the man that's almost comparable to you in terms of the importance to this, maybe he's even more comparable, I hate to tell you, a guy named Lee Zeldin, who's a friend of mine for a long time. He couldn't have, they were all saying, why is he wasting his time? That's Democrat territory. And I liked Lee and knew Lee, and he ended up winning a seat in a massive upset. nobody knew what happened, actually. And then he was there for a long time. How many years were you there? 8. 8 years. Was very popular. And then he almost ran. He almost won the governorship of New York, which is lost by a few points, which was an amazing run. And I said, we got to get you in with us in some form, and we did. And he's head of the environmental agency, EPA, and doing a great job. And I said, if we have a nuclear power plant, Lee, can you get it approved in less than a month? He said, what? He said, I'll do it faster. And by the way, he'll do a fast job, but he's going to do also a great job. It's going to be an important job. We don't even smile about it, but I've been involved in the approval process for a long time, having been in real estate, and you go years and years and years for absolutely nothing. And even in those days, I used to say, this whole thing could have been approved in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and it would have been just as good. But they'd take you down the path, and you'd spend years waiting, and then sometimes you get rejected. I wasn't rejected too much. I was the king of zoning. I did well, but it was such nonsense. It was so terrible. The process was so terrible. But this is the big leagues now, and he's the head person in the whole country, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate you doing it. And already they're respecting you very greatly. So thank you very much, Lee. Great job. So we have a lot of senators and congressmen and women, and I'm going to just introduce the ones that I see here because
no, I don't want to. I don't want to hear
because I leave one or two out, and that's. We have a lot of people from Congress, congressmen and women, representatives. Morgan Griffith. Morgan, thank you. Thank you. Because for years people would just bemoan this industry and decimate the industry for absolutely no reason. Because with modern technology and all of the other things that we do, it's one of the great forms of energy. That's why other countries, leading countries, are using it, some exclusively. For 4 long years, Joe Biden and congressional Democrats tried to abolish the American coal industry. They did everything in their power while he was awake, which wasn't much, shutting down dozens of coal plants, banning coal leases on federal lands, and putting thousands and thousands of coal miners out of work, destroying their lives, actually, destroying their lives. I'll never forget when I went to West Virginia, which I won by 48 points, I think, right? Big Jim, I won by 48 points. But in the first campaign where Hillary Clinton was about 4 states too early, and she was talking about how bad coal was and how they were going to teach coal miners how to make widgets and gadgets and technology, which they didn't want to do. They want to mine. One thing I learned about the coal miners, that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and a different kind of a job, and they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do. And she was going to put them in a high-tech industry where you make little cell phones and things. I don't know. Do you think he'd be good at that? I don't know. You don't want to be. And she was brutal about 3 weeks before, but then she had a problem. She went to West Virginia looking for votes, and that was a bad situation. You remember that? And there was a coal miner around the table with his family, and he was in tears because of what they had done to him and his family. And I hope he's still around, but that man made quite an impression on the world and the public. And we ended up winning in a great election, but we ended up winning by a lot. The Democrats' Green New Scam killed jobs and sent prices soaring here in America. But meanwhile, China opened 2 coal plants every single week, and other countries likewise went very strongly back into coal. Some of them never got off. Those are the ones that didn't have the problems. The Biden energy policy was to put America last. We want to be last. We got to be last. Not a good policy. Under my administration, we're putting America first. It's very simple.
So while the rest of the world were investing, and because, listen, just because we are embracing the energy within our own country does not mean that we're stopping the innovation process. It doesn't mean that we're not trying to figure out how to do it cleaner. It doesn't mean that we're not exploring new technologies. Doesn't mean any of that stuff. But what it does mean is that while other countries were investing in their own infrastructure, we were continuing to push this Green New Deal because everything in that package was to enrich all of their friends, all of their politicians. When these campaigns kick off, okay? When these campaigns kick off, When you see Democrats, right, and then they say, hey, man, these billionaires need to pay their fair share. Don't you know that people that continue to fund their campaigns are billionaires? Are you thinking that they're just doing it because they want to pay their fair share? No, they're doing it because they see that it's legislation that they're going to push through, and they're going to frame it, they're going to brand it, they're going to market it. Remember when I was telling y'all that you can have the best product in the world, but it doesn't really matter unless you market it greatly? That I told you that Chinese, they spend the majority of their time marketing products, while we may innovate, while we spend all of our money on research and development, they may spend all of their money on marketing. There's companies that spend 90% of their budget on marketing, 10% on the product, and then there's other companies that spend 90% of their budget on research and development, 10% on marketing, right? So while we were sitting there doing this Green New Deal and all of this other, remember the infrastructure deal that Biden signed and pushed through, that we were going to build all of these superchargers, and then they had to go to Elon Musk because they spent billions of dollars and they didn't build anything. Do you ever ask yourself, well, where did all of that money go? Where did all of the money go? These people, they finance these campaigns because ultimately they already know the legislation that's coming and what's being written. Then it goes to be negotiated so that they can make it a part of and get it approved by Congress, right? They push it through and then they have to market it. 10% of it is making sure that they write it. 90% of it is making sure that they got a nice big label. The Green New Deal, the infrastructure deal, the CHIPS Act, right? But if you go through and you look at it and you read it, you realize that it's just a bunch of money that's going to be funded by American taxpayers to enrich the people that then paid for these campaigns of these politicians, and they are in their pockets. And it's going to be a few people that continue to get rich, and nobody's going to ask where the money went. And they're all going to say, well, listen, we pushed it through, but we're waiting for it to actually kick in to help you guys. And then by the time that you start getting curious, like, man, where did all of those jobs go? What happened to the Green New Deal? What happened to all of these jobs? They already pushing through new legislation and saying that they're going to fix the thing that they didn't do the first time. While other countries like China is pushing through and putting through new power plants with new technology in order to make sure that they continue to build their infrastructure, we had politicians that was finessing y'all. And by the time that y'all got done finishing trying to figure out what was going on, you had no jobs. You were dependent on the finance industry. And now you think that you got a good deal as they sell you cheap products over the internet from Temu and Shein. But we investing in our infrastructure. We getting back to the core of what we doing, and we making sure that they pay the price for all of y'all still being heavy consumers.
Always going to be first. On my first day in office, I terminated the Green New Scam. I declared the national energy emergency and withdrew from the unfair, one-sided, and extremely costly to the United States only Paris Climate Accord.
Sound like something from the Avengers. The Paris Climate Accord, ain't that what they did in the Avengers?
You know, under the
Captain
Paris
America?
Climate Accord, we had a terrible situation. We would have paid over $1 trillion. Think of it, over $1 trillion. And Russia was paying almost nothing. Russia had a 1992 standard. China was paying nothing. China didn't kick in until 2035. This was 5 years ago. So they didn't kick in for many years. India had no standard whatsoever. But we had the highest standard you could imagine. We had to start paying from day one, and we had to pay lots of money. We paid for everything. So I was not a big fan of the Paris Accord.
Oh, the Sokovia Accord.
And I let it be known, and I got out of it
called.
early. Then they went back into it, and now we get back out of it. And hopefully we can be there for a long time, okay? A long time, because it was a scam to take money away from the United States and actually hurt us very badly with coal and with other things. Now, under the executive order that I will sign in a few moments, we're slashing unnecessary regulations that targeted the beautiful clean coal. We will rapidly expedite leases for coal mining on federal lands, and these two gentlemen are going to do a real job of it. You've already started. And we'll streamline permitting. We will end the government bias against coal, and we're going to unlock the sweeping authorities of Defense Production Act, the Defense Production Act, to turbocharge coal mining in America. They made it impossible. You actually, I know a friend of mine has a plant He said, you know, it's a shame. I'm ripping it down and I'm replacing it with another form of energy. I won't tell you because it's also very good, but it's not as powerful as this. He said, you know, the plant I'm building, the new plant, is literally half as good. It's no less, you know, it's not probably even as good environmentally, but he said it produced half the power for more money, much more money. It'll never compete with that beautiful plant I have down the road, which was really a modernized coal plant. Well, he'll be happy to know that he can open that plant up very quickly, and it's going to produce a lot. But he was complaining. He said, this is so much better. He wasn't doing that as politicking me. He was doing that because that's what he felt. And he knew every form of energy. We talked about that. He knew every form of energy. But
the one thing that Trump does well is, and this is why they say A and B students work for C students, is he surrounds himself by people that know how to break it down. Y'all should go and watch this movie called The Big Short. All right? Not even The Big Short. Margin Call. Go watch Margin Call. Right? You had Kevin Spacey. You had a lot of great actors inside of Margin Call. All right? In Margin Call, and I learn a lot from every single thing that I watch, from the books that I read, from the movies that I watch, from the environments that I'm in, and from the culture that I study. All right? In Margin Call, when they called the CEO in and they were breaking down why the market was about to collapse and while everything was about to go down, and you should watch The Big Short and Margin Call, so watch The Big Short and then watch Margin Call afterwards. The CEO said, and I quote, he said, "Do you know why they pay me the big bucks? Do you know why they pay me the big bucks?" But before he said, "Do you know why they pay me the big bucks?" he said, "I want you, the expert." All of the experts was the lowest ones at the totem pole. They were the ones at the bottom, the people that were the smartest. And it doesn't mean that you're not supposed to be smart, but it means that you also have to work on your ability to surround yourself with the right people that can then give you the information and the insight so that you can make the right decision. Trump is a decision maker. He says the reason that they pay him the big bucks is so that he could try to predict what was going to happen in the market in the future. And this is where he started to talk about the music not stopping and the music stopping, and he don't hear a thing. But before he did that, he said, "I want you to break it down to me as though you're talking to a little child. Break it down to me like you're talking to a little child. You're the expert. I don't want to be the expert in what you do. I want to be familiar. I want to be knowledgeable. I want to continue to learn. But you're the expert at what you do. This is why I don't micromanage people. But break it down to me like a little child so that I can make a smart decision based off of your expertise." If you don't think that Trump is surrounded by some of the greatest minds, by people that have already calculated and anticipated exactly what was going to happen before it happens, versus dealing with all of the rest of these people out in this industry thinking that they know, the Jasmine Crockett's, the AOCs, and all of that. If you don't think that he's surrounded by people that already had gave him the game on exactly what China was going to do before he did it,
our government is going to do something that's very different. And I don't think
Kevin
even
Williams
you two know
says the
about
problem is his expert isn't one. Okay, so how do you know? Tell me. Tell me all of the people that you know working behind the scenes that's giving him the insight on what he's going to do. Are you telling me that Scott Benson isn't an expert, that he's not one of the greatest minds? Are you telling me that all of these billionaires that are surrounding Trump on a regular basis that run and own these technology companies are not experts on what's going to happen in the industry? You're telling me that they're not advising him on AI, on chips, technology, wars. You're telling me that he doesn't know all of the smartest minds in the world, and they're not lined up to make sure that they're in his favor? Interesting. So you're the expert. So you know better than all of the billionaires that have all of the greatest minds working for them from these technology companies. You're the one that knows better, huh? Armchair quarterback. Probably can't even come up with $1,000 to save their life. But you know. You got it though. If all of these people that are liberals know so much about economic policy and tariffs and trade and stuff, why are they all complaining about getting laid off at their jobs and that they're going to be broke at the end of the month? I'm asking a question from a C student's perspective. If you guys are so smart, why hasn't that translated into real life results? How come you don't have a company that is worth at least $1 million? How come your house is not paid off?
This was my idea from about 15 minutes before I got up here. We're going to guarantee that we have a strong business for many years to come, that your coal companies and your miners don't get all excited about their jobs, and then should a radical left liberal become president, they end the business right away, and somebody's built a plant and spent hundreds of millions of dollars in building a plant, and the plant is going to be closed because a Democrat got in or a liberal got in. They're opposed to coal, and Republicans are very much for it, clean coal. And we're going to give a guarantee that the business will not be terminated by the ups and downs of the world of politics. So should somebody come in to this very important office and say, oh, well, you spent hundreds of millions of dollars and you guys have given up your life because you want to be in coal, and then all of a sudden you don't have a life anymore because it's what...
It's so funny when I hear people talk about bankruptcy. Do y'all even understand what corporate bankruptcy is when you file for bankruptcy for a company? When you reorganize in debt so that you can get it at a lower rate? Do y'all even understand? Jesus Christ. Yo, we got to do a remedial class, a remedial finance class. Maybe I need to do like a 30-minute class before I do the Millionaire Morning Show every day so I can give you all the fundamentals and we can have these conversations in truth. People just be talking, bro.
But you know the best. That's not going to happen. We're going to give a guarantee that it's not going to happen, so that if somebody comes in, they cannot change it at a whim. They cannot just going to go. They're going to have to go through hell to close you up. All right. So that's pretty good. We're going to give that in the form of a guarantee that we're writing on right now, structurally and from a legal standpoint. So your investments are going to also be protected. And you're going to have no reason to be concerned about your future, your life, or your investment if you're a miner, as this great governor was a miner. Actually, he was one of the larger coal miners. He could fit up here very easily, you know, Big Jim. But he was a great success. But they were very, very tough on him, and he did a beautiful job with a beautiful product. Already under our leadership, the Department of Interior.
Yo, Tyler. I'm going on a shout out to Trump. He's basically going to be praising tariffs. I don't want to go through the whole hour. He's praising tariffs, and he's actually signing executive orders to continue to unleash our energy inside of the United States of America. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. What did Tyler say? Tyler says something. Tyler, I didn't get a chance to actually catch your whatever it is that you typed in the chat. I'm going on the Bust Down Your Chick tour. All right? Okay? That's what I'll tell you. Whatever it was that you were saying, something about pandering versus teaching people or whatever, my answer to everybody is that I'm going on tour this summer, and I'm looking forward to meeting y'all. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys. I'm looking forward to meeting y'all. All right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Raider Gaines is in the building and says, I don't believe in reparations for slavery, but if there were ever any, I do think that there should be reparations for families impacted by crack. It's clear who the plaintiffs and the defendants are. I don't know about that one, big dog. No such thing as an anti-vaxxer. Nobody needs them. The body has functioned properly for centuries without that. Why need it now? Because the government told you so. You see this, Eric D? Make it make sense. Talk to him, Slimmy. Lil Black Duck says just watch Jon Stewart's interview with Ezra Klein about Biden's $40 billion broadband spending package and why no one has gotten the service yet. The same reason I just explained. Guilty Gunner says, God bless you all. This market drop is a prophecy from God. The first dominoes have fallen. The next much larger one is tipping now. God's last call. Yeah, okay, I got you. God was talking about the markets. You're right. Can you sing happy birthday to my wife, Rona Linda? Her birthday is today, and she loves the show. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Rona Linda. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Yeah. Shout out to all of my Aries and my Tauruses in the building and the April babies from all years, from all decades. T-Best says, yes, that line from Margin Call is a classic. Watch The Big Short every couple of months. Another goodie. Great movies. Great movies. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get into the second half of the show. Jamie Dimon, ladies and gentlemen, talking tariffs and the state of the economy. CEO of the biggest bank in the world. I don't know about the world, but definitely the United States of America. Let's get into it, what he has to say. This is him appearing on Fox News and talking about what is happening financially and how things are playing out as far as tariffs.
Welcome back. Let's check markets here. Futures are indicating a decline of better than 700 at the opening of trading, about an hour and 15 minutes away. That's down almost 2%. The Nasdaq's down 263, 1.5%. President Trump's reciprocal tariffs took effect at midnight last night, and China is retaliating again this morning. It is announcing an 84% tariff on all U.S. goods after President Trump confirmed that the U.S. will move forward with a tariff of 104% on Chinese goods. Beijing also adding 6 U.S. companies to its, quote, unreliable entity list and 12 companies to its, quote, export control list. J.P. Morgan Chase Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon releasing his annual letter to shareholders this week, writing, tariffs raise prices and slow down economic growth. We are here now with the man himself to talk more about the backdrop in this Fox Business exclusive. J.P. Morgan Chase Chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon. Jamie, great to see you.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. And you know, congratulations on this incredible career and your leadership. We appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
You've seen so many crises in your days before, financial crisis.com, et cetera, et cetera. How does this moment in time compare to those?
Yeah, well, it's nothing like '08. Okay, so in clarity, nothing. And the 2000 .com thing was very brief. I mean, it lasted like 9 months or something like that. So,
but how about the financial crisis when you almost paid $2 a share for Bear Stearns?
Yeah, we paid 10.
I know.
It's still very.
You wanted 2 initially.
You know, Paulson wanted 2. I wanted to get the deal done, and so it doesn't compare to that. The world was massively over-leveraged. There was a mortgage problem. You're going to have, you know, $500 billion or maybe $1 trillion of actual real problems. The banking system's not that leveraged today, but it's serious, and it was serious before the last election.
Now, let's stop there, because I love Jamie Dimon, and I'm glad that he broke it down the way that he broke it down. I did some reaction videos on the Anton Daniels channel, and I also talked about it here on the Millionaire Morning Show. Maybe a couple weeks ago or something like that, because everybody was saying, oh my God, it's just like 2008 or whatever, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. And I said, dog, if you wasn't old enough to be impacted, if you wasn't at least 24, 25, 26 years old, at least, at minimum, when 2008 happened, when the recession hit, when the market crashed, when the housing crisis was at its peak, you don't know what suffering looks like. This is nothing. And maybe that's where I gained my resilience. Maybe that's why some of us, because we were alive and we do understand how the markets work. We do know that things are cyclical. We did absolutely recover and we roared back and we made a whole lot of money for those that capitalized off of the market back then. Maybe that's why we have the mindset that we have today, because we lived through it, so we understand it. And we also know that this is nothing. This is not even a smidget of what was happening in 2008. This is just a bunch of people whining every single day, every single year about what they don't have, but they have jobs, they have opportunities, they still working, they running up a bag, they got eggs that's $4 or $5, whatever, cool. 2008 was catastrophic. I mean, the world might as well have ended in my mind at that point. The world might have well ended in my mind at that point. This is not 2008. This ain't even close to 2008. People were killing themselves in 2008. They were offing themselves and jumping off of a building and cashing out at the lowest possible point inside of the market, and it was the dumbest thing that I've ever seen in my entire life.
We have a huge, complex geopolitical situation, huge fiscal deficits, not just here, but around the world, sticky inflation, which I personally think will not go away so quick. And then you have, what's going to happen to tariffs, what's going to happen to trade, what's going to happen. So, tariffs and trade are just part of that mix. They don't completely stand alone.
So what do you think about the tariff plan?
I think it is perfectly reasonable for someone to say that trade was unfair. There were unfair trade things. And remember, it's not just tariffs. It's tariffs. I think they have the VAT wrong, how they understand it, and I think they should really get a better understanding to make it easy to negotiate. But there are all these non-tariff barriers around food and energy, and then subsidies, which China is famous for. So it's totally reasonable to say we want to make trade better. But I also want to point out to the Americans, we have the best economy in the world. Our GDP per person is $85,000. China's is $15,000. So you got to put a little bit in the context. But, and then, of course, when they put the tariffs in, it was way beyond what people expected. That will cause a little inflation, slow down growth. But I hope what they really do is let Scott Bessent, who I think is a professional, negotiate. And I know Japan's here. I gather Korea, Vietnam have called, and then eventually Europe. Get those things done quickly. If you want to calm down the markets, show progress in those things, and let Scott take the time. Trade deals are very large and very complex. They can't be done overnight, but you really have to have teams working them to get them right.
It sounds
so. If Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of Chase, echoes the exact same sentiment as we do here at the Millionaire Morning Show, as the Trump administration, as most economists that say, yeah, you know what, we've been getting hosed, and the people that are going to suffer are the ones that are our trade partners that's doing this dirty, not the people that are over here in America, the ones that's buying the goods and services, who don't even have to buy the goods and services for overwhelming majority of the things that we think that we need that we really don't. That's just a luxury item, and it's a nice to have, but it's not a must need. If Jamie Dimon is emphasizing this exact same sentiment and he's championing Scott Bessent also, who are we to sit here and think that we have a better understanding of how money works and how the economy is going to be affected than Jamie Dimon? He's echoing the same thing that we've been communicating over the last week, the last 2 weeks, the last 3 weeks. We have to solve for it. It is very complicated. It is a negotiating tool. Other countries understand exactly where they stand in a hierarchy, and we need to play our cards exactly the way that Trump is playing it. Otherwise, your children, your children's children, and the U.S. economy is going to continue to suffer in the future. He's saying the same thing that we've been echoing for a long period of time.
It's like you're taking a calm head in the face of all of this, despite the fact that we've seen $6 trillion in market value wiped out in about a week.
Yeah, I'm taking a calm view, but I think it could get worse if we don't make some progress here. And of course, trade wars, you saw China raise the rates today, and people get angry and they're going to have responses, and every country's got choices. So there are short-term choices, there are long-term choices. And I also want to point out, if you kind of look forward in the next, 60 days, every company is going to be telling you guys, what it means to them. I think today I saw Delta remove their guidance. And things like that will affect stock prices again. So it's not over yet. And then you've seen tremendous moves in swap prices, asset prices, treasury prices. There's a 10-year treasury auction today and how they go. So, yeah, let them settle down, take a deep breath, negotiate some trade deals. That's the best thing they can do.
I want to get back to what you just mentioned, the earnings season, in a moment.
So what did he just say?
A number of CEOs.
Cool heads prevail, and just relax. And let's see how this plays out. Now, he's overseeing the overwhelming majority of people's assets inside of Chase Bank. He's not panicking. Why should you panic? But nope, Democrats is going to tell you, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Jamie Dimon is sitting here kicking it. He ain't pulling out his hair. He got his hair slicked back. He's chilling. He's slow motion, and he's still the CEO of Chase Bank.
It was just last night, and they said, I'm cutting expenses, I'm cutting my CapEx, so I want to get your take on how that plays out. But look at the 10-year this morning, Jamie. It's up almost 17 basis points. Yeah. And I just spoke with the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, and asked him if part of this is China selling treasuries. Here's my conversation, a snippet of it with Scott Bessent. Watch this.
there's one of these deleveraging convulsions that's going on right now in the markets, and I think it's in the fixed income market. There's some very large leverage players who are experiencing losses. They're having to deleverage. I believe that there is nothing systemic about this. I think that it is an uncomfortable but normal deleveraging that's going on in the bond market, and I expect that as we see the leverage come down, the risk managers tapping people on the shoulders, telling them to bring their books down, which is what happens every couple of years as leverage builds up, then the market will calm down.
Is China jumping treasuries to try to put pressure on this this market?
Yeah, I think it works against their purposes if they are dumping treasuries, because if they're dumping treasuries, then they have to buy something else. If they sell dollars, then they strengthen their currency. And as I said earlier, they've actually been weakening their currency, which is a loser for everyone.
Connie, Jamie Dimon is actually echoing the same thing that Trump is, and Scott Bessent, who is also a part of Trump's cabinet, he's actually saying the same thing in support of Scott Bessent.
Right.
And again, when I hear all these stories, the dollar is no longer going to be the reserve currency. If you end up with the Chinese who are willing to use their currency as a trade tool, that doesn't seem like a very good reserve asset to me.
Yeah. Jamie, your reaction?
Well, he's exactly right. You have a lot of deleveraging hedge funds and players out there, which he obviously is quite experienced in things like that. And that is the initial effect. There will be other effects, and we still are the reserve currency, which will be true for a long time. But a very important point, China and Russia have made it clear they want to dismantle the...
Don't be bothered. Don't be emotional, big dog. Don't feel some type of way. I know you subscribed. I appreciate you for your subscription. I know that you're feeling some type of way because I said that I'm going on tour. Fam, don't be bitter. That's a female trait. That's a female emotion. When you let your emotions control you and you don't think logically, so you type crazy inside of the chat. Kevin with an A, just relax, big dog. Enjoy the show. But I appreciate you. Thank you for continuing to rock with us.
Post-World War II system. And I think the goal of all this trade stuff should be to make Europe and our trading partners, Japan, Korea, Philippines, stronger, not weaker, bring them closer as we build up our military. And any trade that protects military, that we should definitely do. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes about, as you know, pharmaceuticals, shipping, pharmaceutical ingredients, penicillin.
That we're so reliant on China for all of this stuff.
We can't rely on any potential adversary for things we need for our military. And so, there I'm quite sympathetic. That we should do. That's absolutely paramount.
And you wrote about this in your annual letter to shareholders this week, and you talked about national security being the #1 priority here. Right. But it takes time to get the supply chains to America. So in terms...
And when he says national security, again, I explained this, guys, to you yesterday. For those of you that's not here, we cannot be interdependent on anybody else in order for us to be able to survive inside of the United States of America. And part of that, an example of that, is what happened during the pandemic when we didn't have the capacity to be able to manufacture things, and we had to literally create the capacity. I remember Ford Motor Company actually pivoted and started making the machines, the breathing machines, right? Whatever those was, the respirator machines, whatever those. Ford Motor Company was the one that started pivoting, and there were several different plants that had to spin up in order to start creating things that we needed during that time when we were dependent on China and other nations. That was also the ones that were accused of being able to of creating this virus in the first place. We have to have the manufacturing capacity. We have to have steel that's coming from the United States of America. We cannot only be supplying 18% of the aluminum that's going into these cars. It is a national security issue if our military is at a disadvantage because we don't have the infrastructure to be able to support them in a worst case scenario. That is what he's talking about.
In terms of getting this done fast, I mean, how much faster can this happen? And
even though it takes time to build up the capacity, the infrastructure, the facilities, the manufacturing, the whole 9 yards, we still have to do it.
Other way to get corporations to move supply chains here,
Ventilators.
other than forcing them to it, because we've been talking about this for a long time.
You can't really force them, but like I said, there are tons of ways that people manipulate trade, but and as subsidies, and as land grants, and as guarantees. We need to do that for rare earths, pharmaceutical devices, semiconductor chips. We should do it right. I mean, we shouldn't do it in a way that wastes a lot of money.
Semiconductor chips. Why we give so much money to Taiwan, why we're competing against China for Taiwan, why we continue to add them as a part of the Department of Homeland Security, because we depend on this technology to fund and power everything, including all of the stuff that's happening within the military. We need to make our own chips. We need to make our own steel. We need to make our own cars. We need to have our own capacity. We have to do it ourselves, and we have to make sure that we build these industries not just for jobs, but also for national security. And I know that don't mean anything to y'all, but it's very, very important, because when you don't have it and you need it, it becomes a national security issue.
Money and lets corporations feed at that great tax trough or something like that. And it could be done, but it will take years. But we need to start right away. And even some of these other supply chains, a lot of companies are too reliant on one country. It'll take them.
Ford did make respirators.
You got to separate, making sneakers from making guns. One is like really important. One is, it's not as big a deal. So,
Great point.
But the point about national security is economic security, national security are almost directly related in the long run. Hopefully when these wars get resolved, and I hope in the interest of Ukraine, where they have sovereignty when it's over, and the interest of Israel, and not being constantly attacked by terrorists on three sides, you need to keep the economic alliance together. I think it would be in Russia's and North Korea's, Iran's, and China's interest to fragment the Western world. And I think that would be the biggest long-term mistake, and I'm talking about over 30 or 40 years. I don't want to read the book about how the West was lost.
Yeah.
I agree. Shout out to Jamie Dimon and Chase. If you want to read the rest or see the rest of that interview, you can go over to Fox Business. It is a great, great interview. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to acknowledge Myron. Myron says Vance and Daniels 2028 presidency. Politics is about visibility. It's not necessarily all about whether or not you're the best person for the job. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Myron. I appreciate you on Cash App. Executive Suite MLE says, people on CNN argue with Kevin O'Leary and tell him he's wrong on business issues and tariffs when China effed him personally. Insanity. The richest, they always gonna go after the richest person. That's on the panel. Key says, I'd like to start an investment group. If you and a crew were to, how would you start it from A to Z, and how would you operate it and pick the investments? Listen, bro, I'm going to be honest with you, Key. I'm going to be honest with you. It is very, 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 very difficult, and I would not advise for you to start an investment group. Why? Because different people are going to have different agendas, and if you are not with like-minded people and people that are willing to invest in the long term, you are going to fail, and somebody is going to get blamed, especially if you're taking a loss, and somebody panics and you got a liberal in the group and they say, sell. You're going to deal with some of the most ignorant and tumultuous people. Creating an investment group is constant education, constantly persuading people, constantly helping people to understand, hey, you need to chill out. Hey, we need to invest for the long term. This is why it makes sense. I just think that it's a difference between going into business with a partner that has a specific skill set. If I am the money, and I have a long-term view or investment perspective, and I'm willing to invest in somebody that opens up a business because I believe in the business itself and I want you to run the business, but I'm looking for a return on my investment, is much different than having an investment group. Much different than having an investment group. I believe that you should just invest in yourself and make sure that you make the right picks when it comes to selecting the right companies to invest in, or the right stocks, or the right cryptocurrency. But if you create an investment group, it is going to be a headache. A headache. Now, some people create an investment group and then they take fees off the top to manage the investment group because it takes time to do so. So if you're looking to make a profit, then that's one thing. But if you're just trying to create an investment group, nah, bro. I think it's a headache, personally. I wouldn't do it if I was you, and that's why I don't manage other people's money. I just manage my own money, and then I give people the game on what it is that I do. Shout out to Kenya from Cali. Says the largest banks in the world are the Industry and Commercial Bank of China, China Construction Banks, Agricultural Bank of China, and JP Morgan Chase. Shout out to you, Kenya from Cali. I like that. Thank you for educating us. Many Shades of Dawn says, do you think I should put 1,000 in the S&P right now, SPY? Also, I plan to put the extra money I get from my YouTube channel into the market. What do you think? Thank you. I think that putting your money into the S&P 500 is a smart thing to do, especially when you don't have the research done for the individual companies that you want to invest in, right? Managing a portfolio versus investing in the S&P 500 or some form of an ETF like QQQ. I think that that's a smart thing to do. I think that it's a smart thing to do. You can pretty much automate it, but you can always move it out. So I have no problem with that. Just make sure you continue to dollar cost average, meaning that you're automating the investment process. Shout out to Many Shades. JB's Garage says, always informative content here. Great channel. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. More Than Mellow says, thank you for telling us about the tech fields. 7 months in IT. I'm a top 5 in ticket closures, including offshore, and taking my A+. My family went homeless in 2008. This recession, I can dollar cost average. Welcome to the game. Continue to level up, continue to educate yourself, and continue to push yourself, all right? Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's pivot. Trump decided that he wanted to adjust Yamin. Y'all told me that the J was silent. Y'all told me that the J was silent, so I call her, the J and the S are silent, so I call her Yamin. Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett continues to say some of the most ignorant, stupid, dumb, and it's so funny because if you look at the people that stand behind her, they are just like the people that were protesting on Hands Off Day on April 5th. Jasmine Crockett says some of the dumbest things that I've ever seen in my entire life. And I believe somebody asked Trump about her and he had his opinion. And so we want to explore that. Again, make sure you guys, her name is Yamin. Yamin. The J and the S is silent, just like Jorge, right? Just like Jesus. Jesus. Hey, Jesus. I call her Yamin. All right. Shout out to Yamin Crockett. Yamin Crockett. But this is what Trump had to say about Yamin. And some of y'all think that she's intelligent. I just tend to think that she's pretty stupid. But that's just my personal opinion. Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. This is a little bit of what's going on in the political world right now. Trump laughed at it.
All right, President Trump cutting federal funding from universities that don't align with his administration's policies. Princeton is among the latest institution to face financial penalties, losing $4 million over money related to climate research. Cornell and Northwestern also reportedly getting their budgets slashed at a much higher level, with the government pausing nearly $2 billion with a B dollars in federal funds. The Trump administration telling Fox News the money was frozen in connection with several ongoing credible and concerning Title VI investigations.
Those numbers will get your attention. Host of Fox Nation's Reality Check with David Webb and Fox News contributor David Webb joins us now. David, as if on cue, of course, the left is screaming that important research will grind to a halt and all of us will suffer as a result. What's your reaction to that?
They should all head out to the diner near Princeton, sit down and cry in their eggs this morning. The fact is, these universities with monumental endowments already have the ability to carry out the research they did before the government graft that was being given to them, and they can still do that. If they have legitimate public-private partnerships with a government agency to do a specific type of research, then that's legitimate. But just handing them money for all of these programs that literally make no sense, provide no scientific enlightenment, is what's been going on. It feeds the university. They build the endowments. They increase the tuition for the kids. They literally are taking money from every corner they can and not giving the people a return on their investment. And frankly, we don't need to give them that money. The government needs to pull it back. They need to educate children. And if there's some research, then we can look at it in a targeted fashion. But
somebody asked me, they said, Anton, I don't understand these endowments. Anton, I'm trying to understand these grants. How is Trump withholding funds? Well, again, a lot of these universities get grants from the government. They get research and development grants from the government. And they use that. They're supposed to use that for specific issues, right? Some of them research different use cases when it comes to vaccines, for example. I know the University of Michigan at one point was getting a lot of funding from the federal government for what they would define as a smart city when it comes to the technology that's put in the roads, right? They had research and develop a stronger concrete that lasted longer, or they were automating some certain cities to where it created the infrastructure for us to have cars of the future and electric cars. And so they take that money and they use it for what they deem to be research, grants, development, important things that they think is going to change the lives of the American people in the future. But again, I believe that a lot of these same universities was getting a lot of their funding and then using it for diversity, equity, and inclusion and inclusive programs, especially when it comes to things like sex changes, right? Another thing that was happening at the University of Michigan and Ann Arbor is that they were very progressive in the sex change industry when it comes to children. This is a fact, right? Their hospitals was leading the research and leading the procedures when it comes to changing or the transformation of children from a boy to a girl or a girl from a boy or whatever, so on and so forth. And one of those young people have now grown up and they've been going on tour and they saying, listen, y'all just need to hold up. I'm having a lot of complications. I don't know if this was the right thing to do. It probably shouldn't have changed had me going through these therapy sessions and these changes with my body and doing these procedures when I was a child because I regret it. Now, what the Trump administration is also doing is they're saying if these universities want to continue to push not merit-based programs, but diversity, equity, and inclusion, what we're going to do is we're going to withhold funding. That's when you seen Obama come in with his little speech and said, hey, but y'all got these huge endowments. That comes from alumni, that comes somewhat from tuition. It also comes from grants from the government, and that goes into this one big pot that is supposed to be invested that you can use in dark times. You can use it. You can also use it in order to lower the tuition for students that need it. It can keep tuition low. It can be used for funding for programs, for new buildings, and all of this stuff. So universities and college campuses is big business. Big business. And at the University of Michigan, for example, there's a lot of people that are protesting. I can't believe you guys are renaming or removing diversity, equity, and inclusion in order to meet government standards. Well, what did you think that they was going to do? You thought that these universities existed just because they were public institutions? No, they exist because the government subsidizes their funding and they get a lot of it from them in order for them to be able to keep the doors open. So now this big thing is college funding, grants, funding from the government, endowments. Harvard has this endowment. University of Michigan has this endowment. Use some of that money and use it and stand on business, like Obama said. And the universities are smarter than that. And they said, no, we're going to try to comply and we're going to just try to meet y'all in the middle somewhere of what your complaints are. We'll hear your complaints. But a lot of these universities get funding for the things that you see. And most of the time, the majority of the funding goes into their coffers. It doesn't necessarily just go to the research and development, all right?
Enough.
Okay, so David, Democrats are currently in search of a leader of their party, and maybe not the leader, but somebody who's getting a lot of attention right now is...
Somebody said you are smart but arrogant. Fam, you want the information or not? You're getting it for free. Sassy. You're getting the information. I'm breaking it. Look, there's nobody on the internet that is crossing multiple subjects, having different conversations, and breaking it down to you from a C student's perspective. Some of the most ungrateful mother effers that I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm not going to keep holding back on y'all. I'm not going to keep on holding back on y'all. Grow up. You're not in high school. I never heard y'all see the professor and say, you know what, but I like him as a person. He's not there for you to like as a person. He's there to give you the information for you to be successful. Learn to separate the person from the information. Don't worry about what you think about me. If this is conducive for your life, then you lean into it. Stop whining. Stop whining.
Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Take a listen to some of her recent comments regarding illegal immigration and why she feels it is necessary. And then President Trump talking about her rising star. Watch this.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands. You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
How about this new one they have, their new star, Crockett? How about her? If that's their new star, they're in serious trouble.
Okay, so what do you think about her comments, David? And
that is the most ignorant thing that I've seen a black woman say that is a public figure this year. If that is not one of the most underhanded oh, man. Y'all seriously support this woman? Are y'all seriously supporting No. Honestly. I just want to know, are y'all, who in here is a fan of Yamin? Who in here is a fan of Yamin? I just got to know. I got to know. Who is a fan of Yamin? That is one of the most ignorant people that I've seen in a long time. A long time. So stupid and ignorant. That woman she needs help, bro.
And the president's reaction to her.
Black woman just on point.
Look, this woman's a complete fraud. Either she's a complete fraud or she was a fraud when she went to her private school at $35,000 a year or whatever the final cost was, to Rhodes at over $55,000 a year, and now she's pretending to be a hood rat. Look, I don't like Sheila Jackson Lee, but at least she came from the 5th Ward in Houston, and while we disagreed on politics, she came from a truly poor and crime-ridden neighborhood, and that was part of her district. Jasmine Crockett is a performative politician. She's a fraud. And if Democrats want to follow her, I say go ahead. I want you to follow her down that path, because Democrat deconstruction and destruction of the party is okay with those of us who are sick of this. And, you know, when I leave here, I'm not going to go look for a cotton field or all of these other things she claims that blacks are not doing anymore or that illegal aliens will do. She just lies to promote herself. And because of her, the party will fall even further.
It's going to be fascinating to watch, because you have her, of course, you have AOC, and you have Bernie Sanders, kind of a number of generations all, espousing the same message. Is this where the Democrat Party goes from here? Based upon the last few months, it looks like they are, and that is, I think,
it's so dumb
to everybody. David Webb, never befuddling.
Well, whether you're communist or idiotic, you're dangerous either way. So let them be dangerous to the Democrat Party. We have real issues in America to address.
David Webb.
That is the fact. Listen, I have not done my research, but this is what everybody has been saying. They say that Jasmine Crockett is Clarence from 8 Mile, and Clarence's parents has had a really good marriage. Well, maybe y'all don't know him by Clarence. Maybe y'all know him by Papa Doc. They said that Jasmine Crockett has been going through a rebrand so that she can appeal to black women. Hey, listen. That is an insult to you guys. That's an insult to you guys. It is an insult for somebody to feel as though in order to resonate with you, they got to come down to your level. They got to get ghetto. They got to get their wig. They got to get their eyelashes. They got to get their nails. They got to start talking like this because we're not going back and picking no cotton. That is so disrespectful to you guys. You don't feel like you've been bamboozled. You don't feel as though, yo, why are you talking to me like I'm ignorant? Why are you talking to me like I'm dumb? Why you feel like in order to resonate with me, you got to get good and ghetto? You new. You're new from ATL, from what is the ATL movie? Was it ATL or was it something? Whatever the one that was with T.I. in it and new. I thought he did a pretty good job in that. You new. You're new. You had private schooling. You come from a great neighborhood, a strong family. You was a good child. You went to a good school. Your parents absolutely made sure that you had the best education possible. And you feel like you gotta get good and ghetto in order to resonate with the black women and the black men. We support her. Talk your talk, sis. So you went and got you a ghetto kit. You went and got the hood rat kit, the eyelashes, the lace front. My dog Quentin, he liked to call it the middle part bust down. I don't know why they call it middle part bust down. You know, you went and said something like this. You from the hood now. Y'all don't feel disrespected by this woman that reduced y'all to ghetto talk and I'm against Trump. Baby, that's how you know it. That's the minute that they say that, it's over. If they ever say clock it or they start with baby, she ate. Because baby, we's not going to pick cotton no more. If they start with that, then you already know that it's over. It's over. Don't let them do the baby to you. Don't let them do clock it. Don't let them say any of this stuff. Man, don't fall for it, ladies. Ladies, don't fall for the foolishness, all right? Make sure I hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe. We not going back to it. We not picking cotton no more. Shut up, bro. Shut up. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let me read a few of these super chats and then we're going to move over with the show. Up with BM says, Mr. Anton, can you do a deep dive on black veterans not being recognized? Rumor. Where did this rumor come from? I'm not familiar with it. When did it start? And where's this conversation being had? I'm not familiar with it. What black veterans aren't getting recognized? Let me know, up with BM. I'm not familiar with it. I can't do a deep dive on something that I'm not familiar with. Send it to me in my email. LaToya Blue. What up, Toya? Toya looking good in that profile picture. Toya, are you coming to one of my tour dates on my Patreon so we can hang out, kick it, see what's happening in these streets? Hey, Anton, my son hijacked my YouTube accounting, and now I'm finally able to send super chats. Been watching for a while. Love you. I love you. Toya, are you coming? I'm going on tour. Doing meetups. I'm going city to city, state to state. We're going to start in the liberal part of D.C., the DMV, I think. June, DMV, I'm coming. Toya, you going to be hanging out? Tell your son to stop hijacking your YouTube. You looking great right there. I like what you got going on over there. Yes, I am. I'm going on tour, Toya. AR Smitty says, you gonna be in there? I like that. Looking forward to meeting you, Toya. I'll see you in DC. June, we going to DC, all right? What else we got going on? AR Smitty says, I worked at the Whole Foods in Ann Arbor. So you are familiar with Ann Arbor. And boy, were the Transformers prominent on that staff. Everything is gay now. Mr. Lone Star says, my son went to an engineering camp at the University of Michigan, gave a trans student his own floor for the entire week. U of M is very woke. Yeah, I had to get out of Ann Arbor. I thought that Ann Arbor was going downhill a long time ago with all of these woke policies. And boy, did they just do it. Did he just 8 Mile her? That guy's a gangster, says Aaron Good. Chris Cunningham says Kamala did it and a 92% still voted for her. That's because they hated Trump. Just Christian says she's keep talking down on Hispanics. She must have missed the memo from Biden that Hispanics will be the majority of America by 2040. She better start shopping for cotton picking gloves now. Thank you, Just Christian. Toya says, Byron. Jasmine said that. I can't wait to meet you, Toya. I'm looking forward for you. Toya Blue. I want to see your... Nah, you ain't got to have no name tag. I'm going to recognize you by the red lipstick. Danielle. What up, Danielle? Says the loudest one in the room usually has the most to prove and no way to prove it. Jasmine Crockett, sit down. Danielle, I'm looking forward to meeting you. Also, shout out to Danielle. Centel Will 2 says, what up, though? I appreciate you. Thank you, Centel. I appreciate you for holding me down. Let's continue to move on with the show. Oh, yeah, that's what they say also. It's giving. It's giving. That's a good one. Ema Sakin. They say it's giving also. That's true. Let's move on. All right, so let's deep dive. One more thing. Trump is... Now, this is what we need the IRS for. We don't need the IRS to be all up in our business. We need the IRS to be providing information to the Department of Homeland Security to make sure that they are capturing migrants, and we need more deportations. I'm not going to let it go. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. This is the latest update on deportations inside the United States of America.
Thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Christina Evans. As promised before we went to that 2-minute break, we're about to tackle another major headline that's happening today. I want to put this tweet up that we have there from the New York Times.
Me neither,
citing
Tara.
this breaking news. The IRS has now agreed to share information with ICE to help locate people for deportation, according to court records. This is a fundamental change in the IRS, which has gained the trust of migrants and encouraged them to file their taxes over the years. So we now want to check in with Fox 26's Houston's Abigail Dye to share the very latest. Abigail, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. Of course, this is a story that's capturing national attention.
Look at these two women on here. You got the Snow Bunny, and we got our black queens to be. Look at this. She got her filters on. Y'all got the skin glow effect on there. Got her cheekbones out. Clavicles. That's what Quentin liked to call them.
As it pertains to the IRS and ICE, what can you tell us about what you've learned?
Absolutely. This is a big deal, especially here in Texas, because we have such a large immigrant population. So what we know...
Y'all booming in the stock market? Oh, man. Stock Club is going to be great tonight. Stock market is popping. I'm going to be on the hunt. I'm on Market Watch. I'm trying to figure out what the news is. I'm on it, y'all.
Is this deal between ICE and the IRS. It was found in federal court records yesterday, and it's a memorandum of understanding that was signed by both of these agencies, and it allows ICE to get information from the IRS, tax records, and anything related about individuals on an individual basis by request if ICE can...
Foxhole, listen. Y'all not gonna tell me what to do on my show. All right? We got Stock Club tonight. Y'all not gonna tell me. I'm already doing overtime. The show is only supposed to be 2 hours max. We 2.5 hours in and we still been cooking. And I've been giving y'all content all day, every day. I've been hitting y'all with content over content over content over content every day. Y'all not going to sit here and whine about it? Let's continue.
Prove that the individual that they're requesting for is part of a criminal investigation. Now, it's important to remember that many immigration violations are criminal in nature. So if anyone is being investigated for an immigration violation, they are subject to having their tax records pulled by ICE so they can find out more information about where they live and different financial statuses.
And it's been interesting, like I said, you mentioned the fact that this is going to affect many Texans as well. So how have those lawmakers there in the state been responding over the last few hours to this news coming out?
Well, we've heard kind of a lot of back and forth.
I like
Of
that, the
course,
manager.
there are many supporters of this. A lot of officials and people think that ICE should have
Molly on y'all
access to
heads
this
right now.
data. So this isn't something that's new. The IRS isn't allowed to share information with just anyone, but the IRS has always been allowed to share information with law enforcement concerning criminal investigations under a certain code in the Internal Tax Revenue Code. So now this is just expanding that to ICE. A lot of lawmakers think that that's the right move. While some people are saying that this will prevent undocumented immigrants from filing taxes, which is something that does happen. It's a common misconception that undocumented immigrants don't file taxes, but according to the Institute of Taxation,
S5.E71 is on cranking right now. Okay, so breaking news, stock market is skyrocketing after Trump says that there will be a 90-day pause on reciprocal tariffs. So the stocks, dog, are y'all not capitalizing on every single thing that's happening in the market right now? All right, so this is what's happening. I'm going to give y'all an update. We switching up the program really quickly. I got to give y'all the breaking news as of right now. So as of 5 minutes ago, all right, again, get it on the way going down and get it on the way going up. As of 5 minutes ago, the stock market is jumping. SPY is almost up, I believe, 7% right now. Trump is, they going in a tariff war. Okay, so China decided to make themselves the target. This is what's happening. China is lifting the tariffs to 125%, from 104% to 125% on China, and they're dropping it to 10% for other countries for 90 days. That's because the other countries are reaching out and they're trying to do a deal. This is the art of the deal. So he's dropped it to 10% for other countries for 90 days, and he's lifting it to 125% on China. What does this mean? This means that the market is reacting and they're realizing that China is not the thing that's going to move the market for the United States of America, and Trump is actually doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Okay, so for all of y'all that was worried about it and was whining about it, you don't have to be concerned because they know what they are doing, and you should be. If y'all are not getting rich, if y'all have not been running up a bag, if you decided that you wanted to get into turmoil and then running it all in the Victim Olympics, that is your fault. You should absolutely be punished for it. So this is what's happening, okay? President Donald Trump has indicated on a social media post on Wednesday. Let's see if I can click that post. Okay, this is straight from Truth Social. He said, based on a lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charge to China by the United States of America to 125% effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the USA and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Departments of Commerce, Treasury, the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States, I have authorized a 90-day pause and substantially lowered reciprocal tariffs during the period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That is straight from Trump in real time. That is what he's saying. He's saying that because other countries tucked their tail, came to the table and said, you know what, we need to pay tribute, this is the reason why the market is jumping. Sarah, we are on the greatest show on earth in real time. This is what is being communicated as a result, straight from the horse's mouth. Trump is saying, China, you wanted to be the big dog. You thought that you was the 90-day gorilla that's inside of in the room. Well, guess what? Tariffs. What did I tell y'all inside of the Patreon? What do y'all tell y'all on the media? What do I tell y'all on the Millionaire Morning Show? I say that It is the news. It is often at times the information that is being communicated that controls what is happening in the market in real time. We're going to talk about it on the Millionaire Morning Show. Yo, we have the greatest leader and we have the greatest president of our lifetime at the helm, making sure that they take care of business and turn on the afterburners, not only for your portfolio, not only as far as the opportunity in order to take advantage of the market, but also because we're doing what's right at the same time for the United States of America. This is great. If you are a liberal, you need to be shamed. If you are a liberal, you should be ashamed. It says that it was at an earlier rate of 104% while other countries would get a reprieve. It's popping, it's banging, it's booming. Everything is great. So in addition to, man, I am so excited. I don't know why I've been in such a good mood. We've been cooking on the Millionaire Morning Show. Trump is cooking to make sure he do the right things that's in the United States of America best interest. Our portfolios is popping. We getting richer. I might go buy another 911. I don't know what I'm going to do. All I know is that everything is working out in our benefit. And us and the United States of America, we are going to be the winners. Stay strong. Stay dedicated. Make sure you do the thing that's in the best interest of your family. Don't panic. What did I tell y'all yesterday? Stop making emotional decisions. Stop making emotional decisions. The market is cyclical. Everything is going to be exactly what it's going to be. In long term, you are going to benefit from it. Don't sell dollar cost average. Continue to buff up your portfolios and stop waiting. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. On top of that, he's leveraging the IRS to make sure that he finds these illegal migrants to get them up out of the country. And then in addition to that, we are proving to the world that we control the market, not anybody else. Let me read some of these super chats. I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. I got to go and get ready in order to do the Patreon live stream tonight. Shout out to Chef G Rap in the building. Says Jasmine ate supper every night with her parents. Greatest show on earth. If you have not sent this to your family and friends, you should already have done so. This is the greatest show on earth, and I will never lead you wrong. Ever lead you wrong. Says, what's good, Anton? Look here. The city of St. Louis. Don't even claim Miss Crockett. I'm coming to St. Louis this summer. God dang, I'm on my tour. God dang, that's a beautiful snow bunny here. She was pretty cute. I ain't even gonna front. What's your email, sir? Somebody drop my email inside of the chat for Upward BM, Upward Black Men. Eric Wealth Harris says, AD, are you seeing the market? It is bullish. Yes. And you know I'm benefiting from it, right? Man. Let me see. Let me check my portfolio. You know I'm a long-term investor, but I just want to see just for the sake of conversation. Fidelity.com, log in, put our password in there. Oh, wrong one. Hold on. Let's see what we got popping right now. It's a celebration. I might just take somebody shopping today. I don't know what's going to go on. It's a celebration. Yeah. It's a celebration. What about Tiege's side of the Patreon? We're going to talk about it tonight. We're going to take some profits, and then we're going to continue to dollar cost average. We're going to pull some profits and dollar cost average. All right, Patreon live stream meetup at 7 p.m. tonight. Take out a little bit of profit. Don't get greedy. Dollar cost average. Continue to pour into the market, but pull some of those profits out that we invested in when the market went down, right? Because sometimes you got to be able to take advantage of the market, even though we got a long-term view. We're going to talk about what we're going to focus on going forward tonight, all right? Ooh, I see a new car. And you know, cars is my thing. I see a new car in me future. Me see new car in future. Yes, we do. Maybe I go get that new Navigator I've been paying attention to. Oh, man. How are y'all not a part of the Millionaire Morning Show? What are you thinking? T-Mac says this is actually how we make a lot of our alien smuggling because it's so hard to prove, but HSI pulls in financials and hit them with the money laundering, with the RICO. 392Q says, you must have been taking cooking classes in Mexico because you've been cooking ever since. Yo, I got a new lease on life since I went to Mexico. It's different. Chris Cunningham says, Trump needs to drop art of the deal too after this term. Listen, we going to get so rich during this administration. We going to run up such a huge bag. Man, I love Trump. Trump is a godfather. Shout out to Eric Wealth Harris. Lewis McCaskill says, what's going on, AD? Shout out to Pittsburgh. Shout out from Pittsburgh. I love Pitt. I love Pitt. What was I eating at? Permantes? Last time I was there? I work security in the city. Would love to have you. I can't wait to get to Pitt. I'm coming on tour. On tour all summer long. All ladies, come and see me. Come and see me. I want to kick it with everybody. Josh McLean says, Jasmine's private school is located in Ladue, Missouri, a suburb of St. Louis. The U.S. Census Bureau's 2019 to 2023 data, Ladue has a median household income exceeding $250,000. Tuition range from $25,000 to $30,000 a year. Oh, so y'all saying that she really new in real life. Courtney Eggers says, man, I threw money in there so fast. Just wait till I start getting this YouTube bag. It's going to be crazy, big dog. Phoenix, what up, Phoenix? Hi, Anton. I sent you an email the other day from my iCloud email address. Just wanted to say, let you know to look out for it if it's in your spam. All right, I'm going to have to check that out. I got you. Centel, Wheel 2 says, welcome to the Real America, a lot less sassy. Jason A-Team in the building says, Trump, us real Americans will never get tired of winning. Like he said, man, Trump is the best president ever and a relief. We have a real leader again. Up with Blackman says, email sent. Thank you for your insights. Facts. Phoenix says, Anton, I sent it to your email the other day from my iCloud email address. Just wanted to let you know to look out for it if it's in your spam. I got you. Mr. Jackson Mafia says, help a brother out so I can invest. No. We get it on our own. And then I teach you what to do with it once you get it. All right? Tiffany, you said come to Pittsburgh? Bet. Only if you come hang out with me. I'm on tour. Your car, what was the name of my tour again? I forgot what the name of my tour was. I can't wait to see y'all on tour this summer. I am going to make, what am I making America? Not making America great again. I'm going to making the ladies whole. I don't remember what I said. What did I say? What was the name of my tour? Anybody remember the name of my tour was? The Don't Be Dusty tour? Y'all up 12.3%? Oh, Casey says, you coming to the ATL? Yes, I am. I'm coming to the ATL. The I Choose You tour? Is that what it's called? The I Choose You 2 tour? I don't remember what the name of my tour is. I'm going to have to go back and watch this. No, it was something else. It was the I Choose You tour, Sarah? Sarah, I choose you, Sarah. I choose you. Oh, it was called the I Choose You 2 tour. That's right. Our streets gave me a whole nother name. You take the whole thing tour? Don't worry about it. Anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. I choose you too. Yeah, if she choosing, I choose you too. That was the name of the tour. The I Choose You 2 tour is coming to a city near you. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. Thank you for continuing to make us great over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. David Yeti says, what up, AD? And shout out to the Bag Chaser. We getting rich in real life. Stock Club tonight. Join the winning team if you really want to get to it. Ain't nothing left to do. I might bring Molly on tour just so y'all can say, oh my God, that's Molly. Jesus. Sheesh. Hubby and I checking you out in DC. What up, the manager? Don't tell him. Don't tell him the name of the tour. Don't tell him the name of the tour, manager. Don't tell him. Nah, I'm just messing with y'all. I'm just serious. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'll holler at y'all later. Tonight, Stock Club.